victory. Rod Barajas is carrying the Mets. Who's going to carry them today? Maybe the pitcher on the mound. Looking for a bounce back. At Citi Field in New York, Pick Sports presents New York Mets baseball. Today the Mets play the San Francisco Giants. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you today. Hall of Famer Ralph Connor joins us a little bit later on as the Mets play the middle game of their weekend series against the Giants. The Mets have now won 8 straight games here at Citi Field. Last night, a tremendous ball game in so many different respects. Good pitching, great defense, and the home run bats of a couple of guys, including Ike Davis.
Well, who said this ballpark's too big? The Mets hit 4 home runs from 2 guys last night, and we'll start with that young man. And off a very impressive pitcher in Jonathan Sanchez. I'm very impressed with this home run, Garrett, because it was a hanging slider. He let go with one hand and hit into a very deep part of the ballpark. And then he makes this great catch. I mean, that was spectacular. That's Gold Glove caliber right there. So just a terrific day for Mr. Davis.
And a Gold Glove assist by Alex Cora, who kept him from killing himself coming over the railing. So after Davis had helped set the stage, then it was up to Rod Barajas to provide the heroics.
Well, Barajas with 2 home runs also is 8th, and now his 9th was the walk-off right here. Remember, he got hit on the interference on a swinging bat on his hand, and you notice when he hit that home run, the grimace on his face. But boy, without Barajas, this club's in big trouble. He has just carried this ball club.
Well, in 45 years of Shea Stadium, only once did the Mets have 2 players hit 2 home runs in a game. They've now done it twice this year at Citi Field, and Barajas has been involved both times. Barajas will not be in the lineup today. Henry Blanco behind the plate, catching Johan Santana, who's trying to bounce back from the worst start of his major league career.
Well, he got beat up pretty badly in Philadelphia. You see those numbers right there. That's not Johan Santana. So the Mets are looking for him to bounce back. It's always great to have your ace out there, and the Mets are going to face the 5th starter in Todd Wellemeyer for the Giants. So things looking good for the Metsies.
Mets trying to make it 2 straight over the Giants, who came in here riding high. Mets and Giants, all the action coming your way today on Pix 11. Pledge, purchase a new Dodge minivan and bring it back in 60 days if you don't love it. By Capital One Bank, what's in your wallet? By Lexus and your local Lexus dealers. By Lumix Digital Cameras, compact with impact from Panasonic, ideas for life. By Time Warner Cables, all the best triple play. And by Nissan, who invites you to shift the way you move.
Single-game tickets for the 2010 Subway Series at Citi Field are on sale now. Visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX to get your Mets Subway Series tickets. Keys to the game are brought to you by Cadillac. Visit CadillacTristate.com.
Well, we talked about it in the open. A rebound from Mr. Santana would be what the doctor ordered. David Wright in a tear right now. Keep it up. They need him hitting. And the Mets have just been death at home. 8 in a row. Keep it up. So that's a threesome right there.
That's 1 go the other way and 2 go the same way. Santana to the mound. Mets and Giants. First pitch coming right up. Brought to you by Tom Warner's Cable All Best Triple Play. Benji Molina, who sat last night in the lineup in the cleanup spot for the Giants. Aubrey Huff riding a 7-game hitting streak. Andres Torres, the switch hitter, gets the start in right field with the Mets starting a lefty this afternoon. As the Giants 17-11, now half game out of first place in the National League West behind surprising San Diego. Kids on the field before the game today getting to know some of their heroes.
I think that's one of the great innovations in the game that they've added on these weekend games. And these kids get a chance to talk to the big league players. What a thrill. Wonderful idea.
A nice picture with your favorite Mets star. I mean, that's something that a kid will remember the rest of their life.
Oh, I would have loved to have been standing next to Willie McCovey or Orlando Cepeda at Candlestick Park before a game. And there's Santana's numbers, as we said, coming off his worst start of the season. We don't want to dwell on that. He has been nothing but outstanding for the Mets since coming over here 2 years ago. And he's looking to bounce back. He's back on the friendly confines here in this big ballpark. He knows how to pitch to this park. And we'll take a look at the defense, brought to you by Capital One Bank. What's in your wallet? I've always wanted to say that. Thank you, Mr. Producer. 5 for 5 catching base stealing this season for Henry Blanco. He has been nothing but short of spectacular behind the plate, calling a great game, and he can really throw out runners. As you can see, he is 100%.
You always aspired to be a Hun?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Or Viking, whatever the heck they are.
Johan Santana had never given up 10 runs in a game before last Sunday night. He had never given up 8 runs in an inning before last Sunday night. He walked the pitcher with the bases loaded to set the stage for a huge inning, and that pitcher, Jamie Moyer, last night threw a 2-hit shutout and became the oldest pitcher ever to throw a complete game shutout when he beat the Atlanta Braves.
Well, you know what? When teams are the good teams, when they have injuries, it's always someone that picks up the slack. And the Phillies have always been a little challenged pitching-wise, particularly starting pitching-wise, but everybody was saying their pitching's falling apart. But Moyer's right there to pick it up, and Kendrick pitched a great game his last time out.
The former Philly, Aaron Rowand, will lead off for the Giants. Rowand has been doing a terrific job since coming back from the disabled list. Missed a couple of weeks after being hit in the face by a pitch from Vicente Padilla, fractured his cheekbone, but 5 games since coming back. Rowand's hitting .391 with a couple of homers and 9 RBIs, so he's provided a spark for the Giants in an unusual spot for him, batting leadoff.
He's only got 1 walk on the season, which is unusual for a leadoff hitter. Angel Hernandez, what's he?
The bullpen gate was open, so that needs to be secured.
Absolutely. Very heads up.
It's keen eyesight because that bullpen gate's about 415 feet away. So now Santana ready to start the afternoon, his 7th start of the year, and his first pitch to Aaron Rowand is inside for ball 1.
Keep an eye on Santana's velocity. Last time out he was, high 80s, so there's been a marked drop in velocity on his fastball.
And he falls behind on Rowand 2-0. Last night, Mike Pelfrey did not walk a batter. In fact, no Met pitcher walked a batter last night. Hold on the ground is short. Reyes scoots over to get in front of it. And the low throw handled by Davis. 1 away. Angel Hernandez, the acting crew chief on this crew. This is Joe West's crew, but he's off this weekend, so Angel's handling the crew chief duties. Paul Schreiber, Rob Drake, and Hunter Wendelstedt, who had played last night, rounding out the crew. Here's Angel, who made a correct call on a close play at first base last night on Jeff Francoeur late in the game. Here's Andres Torres. Torres, a switch hitter, trying to bunt his way on.
Natural right-hand hitter.
Torres, a guy who's kicked around quite a bit. 32 years old. He's had a couple of cups of coffee in the majors along the way, particularly with Texas and then last year with the Giants. And he is their extra outfielder. Filled in center field when Rowand was hurt. Pablo Sandoval, who is really struggling right now, waiting on deck. And a fastball strike on the inside edge. 1-2 to Torres. So that one hit 90 miles an hour.
Well, Pelfrey just overmatched Sandoval last night.
Changeup popped up. And Castillo with the angle, glasses down, makes the one-hand grab. 2 out. So here is Sandoval, who went 0 for 5 last night. He's just 2 for his last 29. And last night, a steady diet of high heat was his vulnerability.
Yes, he was swinging right through it, Gare, and it looks like he's a little out in front, getting his body weight forward, and that's usually spells the kind of streak he's in right now. It starts with a capital S.
He's done well against Santana. 5 hits in 7 career at-bats, including a home run, and Johan starts him off high with the fastball.
Well, we're going to see him for the first time batting right-handed. He's a better left-hand hitter so far this year. 250 from the right side of the plate. No home runs. He's a high cheddar right there, so they're going to stay upstairs on what it looks like from both sides of the plate.
Do you find with a lot of switch hitters, Keith, that they're better high ball hitters from the right side like most right-hand hitters? Or is it different when you're a switch hitter?
Of the old maxim, and it's changed. There's a high fastball right by him. I played with 2 great switch hitters, Reggie Smith and Ted Simmons. They were both low ball hitters from the left side of the plate. And there's the swing right there. He's just under everything. It's actually a better swing right-handed than he is left-handed. And we're high ball hitters right-handed, Joe.
Well, Sandoval trying to handle that high fastball, and Santana has not changed the game plan from Pelfrey's version last night.
You see Sandoval is packing a little extra groceries around with him, so the Giants are a bit concerned about that because they want him to lose some weight because they want this guy to stick around for a long time.
He's just 23 years old. 1-2. Fastball in for a call, strike 3. So Santana throwing nothing but heat, gets Sandoval looking, and a good start for Santana. Mets come to bat with no score. Warner Cables, all the best triple play. Ike Davis coming off 2 home runs last night. The first Mets rookie left-hand hitter ever to hit 2 home runs off a lefty in the same game.
How about that? He continues to impress, and rave reviews from me thus far. And you look at Todd Wellemeyer, the veteran, had his best year with Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa's Cardinals back in 08, where he went 13-9. It's off to a tough start. Dave Righetti moved him on the first base side of the rubber, and he won his first ball game last time out. The Capital One Giant defense, you can see right there. Mr. Molina, the Gold Glover, he is quite a defensive catcher. He's back in the lineup. I had a day off last night, and Angel Pagan will lead it off for the Mets.
Angel 0 for 4 last night, and you see leading off a game has not been his forte this year, just 1 for 15 in the first inning leading off. Corners pinch in as Wellemeyer gets set to make his first start in 10 days. And Pagan takes ball 1. Wellemeyer made 2 relief outings as the Giants skipped his turn. As the 5th starter, that'll happen to you. And it's off the plate to Pagan, 2-0. Mets have handled Mr. Wellemeyer awfully well. He's 0-2 with a 6.67 ERA lifetime against New York.
And that's over 8 games, not all starting.
Taking all the way, and Wellemeyer's behind 3-0. He's walked 15 batters in 24 1/3 innings this year. Finally got it in gear his last start against the Phillies. Look at those numbers. That's awfully good against that powerful Philadelphia team. 3 hits in 7 innings. And credited that move to the first base side of the rubber for improving his performance as Pagan takes a strike.
Well, you couple that with the 21 hits he's given up in 24 1/3 innings, and that's a lot of base runs. You see the move right there. They've on the first base side of that rubber. And that's because I talked to Mike Krukow before the game, and he said when Wellemeyer gets in trouble, he flies open his front shoulder gear, and his arm lags behind every time you open up. It's almost like when you're hitting him, you'll fly open your shoulder, your lead shoulder, your front shoulder, and you'll be wild to that outside corner of the left-handed hitter's plate.
And he walks Pagan to lead off the bottom of the first. So the Mets get the leadoff man on. And now Luis Castillo, who took an 0 for at the plate last night, but he made a couple of terrific defensive plays, including a key one in the 9th inning that kept the Giants from taking a lead.
Well, he probably made that was a game saver in the 9th. It was on the shortstop side of second base. He dove and prevented Aaron Rowan from scoring, and that would have given the lead to the Giants. And you know, Brian Wilson would have been in to save that ball game, and game could have had an entirely different ending.
I mean, Ike Davis made the spectacular play to end that inning. on the pop-up hit by Sandoval that ended the top of the ninth, but Castillo's play was the more important of the two.
You see Sandoval right here. He's way in. Louis loves to slap that ball in that hole.
Often will bunt in the first inning. Let's see if he does here. Set to swing, and Wellemeyer really struggling with his control. Misses up and away. Todd Wellemeyer, 31 years old, lifetime record of 30 wins and 32 losses. He's been dominant against right-hand hitters this year, but the lefties have hit .310 against him.
With 4 home runs too, Gary. So the lefties have been a particular problem, and he can't throw inside. You can see right now he's missed a lot away and up and away against the 2 left-hand hitters thus far.
And on a staff that has 4 dominant starting pitchers, if you're going to play the Giants, this is a guy you've got to beat, because the other guys in that rotation, particularly tomorrow's starter Tim Lincecum, are so good.
Well, Zito's having a nice bounce back year.
With Matt Cain and Jonathan Sanchez, who pitched last night, the Giants have been getting good starting pitching just about every day. And Castillo takes a strike, 1-1.
We talked about Wellemeyer's delivery. Watch him kind of curl. Look at that right there. How he kind of curl like Rick Sutcliffe. Don Drysdale had a little bit of that wiggle. Don had more of a wiggle with his forearm.
Does that influence at all your ability to pick the ball up as a hitter?
It can throw you off because that little extra movement. I know Sutcliffe threw me off.
And at the feet of Castillo, trickles away from Molina, and Pagan down to second.
Oh, tough play right here for the Gold Glover, but he didn't really move that much. Look at that. That's a tough one. That's just way in front of home plate and way inside. I don't know how it didn't hit Luis.
Wellemeyer's second wild pitch of the year moves a runner into scoring position. There's Tim Lincecum. Got the eye black on, even though he's not playing. What's that all about?
It's very glary. He's got his shades on,
it's
too.
Glary in the dugout. Castillo thinking about a bunt, and Wellemeyer really having trouble coming anywhere near the strike zone. Now behind 3-1.
Well, he's going to dig himself a grave here. He's got to throw strikes. You would think that a pitcher would be able to make an adjustment. He's missed consistently away from the left-hand hitters, and make an adjustment. Take a chance. I always said you got 8 gloves out there. The ball might find one of them.
Well, Castillo, a guy who often will take on 3-1, with Reyes standing on deck, and a look at second as Uribe went into cover.
It turned out to be a nice day. Poured this morning.
Tarp was on the field. Neither team took batting practice outside. And Castillo thinking about bunting on 3-1 and fouls it off. I mean, I sometimes can understand the bunt, but not on 3-1.
Well, the way Louis likes to take, too, and go deep in the count, that was ball 4, and you just kind of did him a favor. Problem is, I don't know if Wellemeyer can throw back-to-back strikes.
Castillo has gone 35 consecutive plate appearances without striking out. He struck out only 3 times this year. And a pitch not even close. So back-to-back walks to open the bottom of the first, and the Mets are in business with Reyes coming up. Well, there's the rotation. You got 4 aces there, and the guy who has clearly struggled in that 5th starter's job.
Well, the Giants are 4 deep, and not a lot of teams are 4 deep today in their starting rotation. And I mean, you got Cain and Lincecum. Cain's 2-1. He's the new modern day Gaylord Perry for this Giant team. You know, just
hard luck guy.
Hard luck pitcher. There's Barry. Barry Zito, of course. What a start he's off to.
So a chance for Reyes with 2 aboard. Jose 2 for 4 last night, and takes the first pitch breaking ball for ball 1. So 3 batters and 3 first pitch balls from Wellemeyer, and the Mets will try and wait him out.
Well, he's thrown 2 curveballs, and that last one was a curveball, and they both missed badly. So as a hitter, you got to be looking just licking your chops. I don't know why they entered the corners with Reyes up. He's the third hitter.
And the fastball in for a strike, 1-1.
He's hitting third. He's not up there to bunt early in the ball game. First and second, nobody out. He's in there to drive a ball somewhere and continue the rally.
Jason Bay, who had a first inning double to drive in a run last night, waiting on deck. A lot of speed out there with Pagan and Castillo. And Reyes pulls one foul, and Wellemeyer for the first time is ahead in the count, 1-2.
Another breaking ball. He finally got one over. And Huff, of course, now with 2 strikes, they move back on the corners.
See the numbers lead off and third, and really just about the same at this point with a similar number of at-bats. As Jerry Manuel trying to keep this lineup the way it is and get production out of it. Toward the hole, cut off by Huff, gets the out at second, and that's all. As that pitch was thrown, Uribe, the shortstop, had gone to cover second base, and that left side hole was wide open. But Reyes pulled it down to Huff, and the 3-6 force play generates the first out.
Well, there's a case right there of 2 pitches, 2 or 3 pitches earlier with Huff playing in. That's a base hit. But as a result, you're never going to double up Jose on a ball not hit real sharp. Too much speed.
So a first inning RBI chance for Jason Bay with runners at the corners and 1 out. Bay 1 for his last 18. That one was an RBI double last night.
That never fools anybody, does it?
Once a year.
It just slows the game down.
I saw Turk Wendell pull that off twice in 1 inning.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah.
That's a fine.
Well, every time Turk did it, it was really a balk because he never really stepped toward third. He just lifted his foot, put it down, and turned around and whipped it to first. Bay lifts one to right field. That'll get the run in. Torres settling under it. He's got it. Pagan coming home. The throw goes to second. 1-0 New York. That score without a hit on a sacrifice fly by Jason Bay. His 11th run batted in. And he drives in a run in the first inning for the second straight day.
Well, let's take a look at the swing. He has been struggling, as you know, and we all say that he's got that great top hand. And he likes that ball belt high and up. And that's usually a pitch when he's red hot. He put a crush on it. Better swing on that pitch, Gare. Sorry.
So a run is in, 2 out, and now David Wright, who has unbelievable numbers against Todd Wellemeyer. 8 for 11 with 5 walks. So on base 13 out of 16 in his career against Wellemeyer. David's riding a 10-game hitting streak right now, hitting .395 over the 10 games. That's with a couple of walks, a wild pitch, and a sacrifice fly, coaxing a run here in the first. And with Reyes at first base, Wellemeyer taking a lot of time. The Mets have generally run wild against the Giants the last couple of years. Look at those numbers for Wright against Wellemeyer.
Oh boy, fastball in. David with a big cut.
One thing he hasn't done against Wellemeyer is homer against him. He was thinking home run there. First pitch. David already has 7 home runs this year. 3 less than he had all of last year. And it's only the 8th of May. Think Wellemeyer could take more time? So he and Molina are going to get together for a conversation.
So what do you think here? 1's a fastball, 2's a curve, 3 is usually a changeup or the wiggle.
Benji's saying, you know, you haven't had a whole lot of success getting them out. Maybe you should listen to what I'm asking you to throw. There's Bochy. And
well, Bruce has done a heck of a job with this ball club. This Giant team has good pitching. But he gets the most out of his players.
Well, the Giants have certainly outperformed expectations offensively so far.
Well, last year they were picked just to be dismal, and they had a nice season. But still, they don't have they need another bat in that lineup.
The interesting thing is that their best prospect, who may be here before long, is Buster Posey, who's a catcher. Well, their top RBI guy right now is their catcher, so they're going to have to figure something out if they want to shoehorn Posey into their lineup and add a bat. On the outside corner with the slider, and it's 1-2 to David.
Just looks like David on the breaking pitch. Just kind of flying that front shoulder out.
A pitch out. Reyes wasn't running. 2-2 now to right, with Ike Davis on deck.
What a night he had last night. A first 2-homer game off a very tough left-hander and Jonathan Sanchez.
And introducing a new event into baseball, the pommel horse with baseball. Reyes runs, 2-2, struck him out with a fastball. Wellemeyer gets right to end the innings, but the Mets score the first run of the game without a hit. First run of the game brought to you by Toyota. Toyota moving forward. Jason Bay drives in a first inning run for the second straight day, and the Mets lead 1-0. Hosting their 8th annual Autism Awareness Day as Benji Molina leads off the second, and as he has been so kind to do for the last few years, Pix 11 News anchor Jim Watkins joins us. Jim has been intimately involved with the cause of autism awareness. As Molina rockets one to left field, and Bay goes back and watches it go over his head. There hands it off the wall and holds the lead-footed Molina to a single.
A single off the wall. Shades of Ernie Lombardi.
Catcher for the Cincinnati Reds, 1939-1940.
Batting champion.
Batting champion. Slowest batting champion ever.
Yes.
Isn't that what
they used to play him in the outfield grass.
Jimmy, how are you?
I'm great, you guys. Listen, thank you. I'm so kind to be here. You're so kind to have me back again.
Good to see you.
Like you do every year. I know I've become an annual presence here, but that sort of matches up what has become the ever-present presence of autism, which I'd like to say, has gotten better since we last talked. But the same situation exists. 1 in every 150 children born today are diagnosed with some form of autism. It's a spectrum disorder, so it has a kind of a wide array of symptoms and characteristics. My son has autism. He was standing out on the mound with me when I threw out the first pitch today. And Liam doesn't really have any speech and needs 24/7 care.
Huff drives one to center field, and Pagan is there. That's the first out.
Other autistic children can go to college, but they have a lot of trouble with their logical thinking, and they sort of have obsessive thinking, things like that. So there's a lot that has to be acknowledged about what to do to get on top of autism while they work on a cure. You have to work on being aware of it, recognizing the signs, and getting the treatment as soon as you can.
Where are we in research at this point?
Well, they've definitely figured out there's genetic components to it, and they're making some headway in that regard, but there still seems to be, because of the dramatic increase. It was 1 in 10,000 children 20 years ago who got autism. Now it's 1 in every 150. So it certainly would seem as if something is taking place environmentally. No idea what that is. There's just a lot of thinking, there's a lot of speculation, but almost nothing has been proven scientifically as to what it is. So what my wife and I have dedicated our efforts to, and I think what Autism Awareness Day has done as well, is simply making people aware of what the situation is, how much care, how much money is needed to recognize and treat the symptoms of autism. And then one other aspect of it that doesn't get thought about as much, but this whole group of kids, my child is 12 years old now. When I started coming here, he was 3. He's 12. This whole group of youngsters who have been born since this increase started will soon be going into adulthood and will need group homes and need care for the rest of their lives. And that is something now that we have to talk a lot more about. So we're still in a pinch. I mean, it's still a difficult situation, but through things like this, through things like what the Mets do in letting us sort of come in here and take over the stadium once every year, the Mets have helped us raise now, in the 9 years we've been doing this, $1 million. To help fight autism. And that's just a tremendous, there's no other major league franchise, and not just baseball, but any sport, who has done so much, which has done so much for autism as the Mets have. And Darryl Strawberry is our guy today. I don't know if you saw him down on the field a little bit earlier on, taking the check from our prime sponsors, and he's down in our party suite right now, greeting everybody and just being the wonderful guy that he is. You know Darryl Strawberry.
Yeah, of course I do.
And Darryl started his own charity in St. Louis to raise autism.
He did it because he and his wife Tracy visited a school for autistic children and came away from it simply saying, we have to help.
Uribe pops one up, and Reyes should have an easy play for the second out.
I want to mention real quickly to anybody watching out there who may be worried about whether your child or your niece or your nephew or your neighbor has things you need to be concerned about. If your child isn't talking by 13 or 14 months, that is worth getting him checked out. If he's not making eye contact is a very important thing, or pointing to things and things that he wants. Trust your instincts. If you don't feel your child is developing normally, don't make it guesswork. Don't be in denial. The best thing you can do is go to a doctor, go to your doctor, who may refer you to a pediatric neurologist, who will at least get you going in the right direction. Denial doesn't help at all. If your child is on the spectrum, as they say, the best thing that can help them is early intervention. The earlier, the better. My child was diagnosed at 20 months, which was kind of rare back in 1998 to actually pick it up that early. That was more of a time when people would wait till they were 5 or 6 years old, and then it was almost too late to really get a lot of meaningful treatments going. So be proactive, get it checked out, and the fact is they're wonderful, wonderful children, and to be here today, they have sensitivities to noise, to crowds, to extremes of temperature and brightness, and to be able to come out to a game like this with their families and with their teachers and just be a regular family enjoying something like a Mets game is the best thing in the world. So we just feel such gratitude for being able to, year after year, come here and talk a little bit about what we're doing.
Well, we really appreciate all you have done, Jim, and I know that you and Liam are a great inspiration for a lot of families.
You know what? Through the broadcast that we've done here, and this is actually our third first pitch that we've thrown together.
3-2 to DeRosa.
I've talked about it a lot on the news, on television, but you got a lot of people watch you guys. Are you aware of that?
Yes. I don't look at the ratings like the guys back in SNY do.
Listen, you still have your job, so that means everything. The ratings are probably okay. But most of the attention that I get out of all the talk that I do about this over the course of the year is people coming up to me saying, I saw you in the booth with Gary and Pete on Autism Awareness Day. And many of those people say, it got us thinking. We were a little worried about our nephew. I talked my sister into going and, getting a hearing test and getting him checked out and all that. So you guys have provided for us. And I guess I can say Channel 11, my employer today, because this game is on Channel 11 today, right? Right? Yeah, you had to think about that for a moment.
Yes, I did.
Who's got this game today? So it's a wonderful. I love it when I'm appearing here on the games that are also on the TV station where I work, and it all comes together just very, very nicely.
Well, the goal certainly is to eventually find the cause, the cure, but until then, awareness is the #1 thing. As DeRosa strikes out,
and you always do your job in getting that awareness raised. Thank you so much, Gary. Wonderful to see you. Keith,
always good to see you.
Terrific as always. All right,
keep up the good work.
Have a great season.
And there's Jim with his son Liam throwing out the first pitch here in Citi Field this afternoon. Hey, that's a strike. Nice job, Jim. Last night, Davis and Rod Barajas each hitting 2 home runs, with Davis batting 7th and Barajas batting 8th. How rare is that? Well, it's the first time in Mets history they've ever had multiple home run games from the 7 and 8 spot in the batting order. There's Rod. All smiles. And to take it a little further, over the last 50 years, only one other National League team has had multi-home run games from players batting 7th and 8th. It was the Giants in '02, Damon Minor and Tsuyoshi Shinjo.
Of course.
That's once in 50 years. And the Mets did it last night.
And Barajas, of course, a well-deserved off day today. Had a catcher's interference, got clubbed on his hand, and was in a lot of pain and stayed in.
Saw him this morning. He said it's still a little sore. And in fact, Jerry Manuel said he was thinking about starting Barajas today if he were feeling well enough, but then thought better of it, figured that you don't want him to get in any bad habits at the plate.
Right, and you've got the luxury of having a nice little backup catcher in Henry Blanco.
Too high to Davis, and it's 3-1.
Well, here's the catcher's interference right here. It was on a pitch out, not out far enough, and that hurts.
You see, when he was swinging the bat in the on-deck circle after that, it was just painful. And he had 2 at-bats after getting hit, as Davis takes wide for ball 4. So Davis, who walked his last time up last night, walks his first time up today. That's 3 walks to the first 6 batters now for Wellemeyer. And the Mets have the leadoff man on again.
Well, Wellemeyer playing with fire again. His leadoff walks, just most times find a way to score.
So here's Jeff Francoeur. It's been a struggle now for Francoeur since he got hit on the elbow a couple of times in Philadelphia. He's just 2 for his last 19. And you see he's still wearing that pad on that left elbow after getting struck by first Brad Lidge and then Jamie Moyer. So Francoeur trying to get back in the groove. His average now down to 253.
Jeff does not wait around, does he? He just, if he's set on a pitch and he gets it, he's swinging.
Henry Blanco waiting to hit next.
Jeff just got off to a red hot start, and he'll get hot again. I mean, it's always a season of ups and downs. And Jeff is a very streaky hitter. When he's hot, and when he's cold, he's cold.
Now Wellemeyer has been behind in the count most of the first couple of innings, ahead 0-2 on Francoeur, and the curveball fouled off. Wellemeyer's got those broad shoulders, which you need when your name is Wellemeyer. It's a lot of letters to support.
You got 2 pitchers out there with coat hanger shoulders, Santana and Wellemeyer.
Shades of George Theodore.
Historic.
My favorite sports shoulders belonged to Phil Jackson.
Okay, he had the same type shoulders.
Because, you know, basketball uniform, you can see those shoulders. They went on forever. Check swing, and Francoeur takes high and stop the swing. Paul Schreiber with the call, 1-2. Well, this day has certainly brightened and cleared. Wind is supposed to pick up as the afternoon goes along. It's supposed to cool down tomorrow, but for the moment, just a beautiful Saturday afternoon.
May and September are 2 of the best months to play in Major League Baseball.
Inside, and Francoeur gets hit again. This time a little bit higher. So the Mets again have the first 2 men on as Wellemeyer plunks Francoeur.
Well, he's trying to throw a cutter, and look at that. It just stays backed up and hits Francoeur. Francoeur's a hitter. You see that little tight circle on the ball, and you're waiting for the ball to, you read it as a slider, and you're waiting for it to break away. And when it stays in like that, because you're hanging in, you're more apt to get hit.
Well, Francoeur making like a dartboard again. And the Mets have 2 on for Blanco. Henry has a hit in each of his last 3 games. Hitting .240 for the year. With Santana on deck. First and second and nobody out. And the first pitch curveball in for a strike. Davis and Francoeur, the base runners, with nobody out.
Francoeur sporting the socks.
That's what happens when you're slumping.
The high socks.
To the Blanco.
Look at those shoes. Can't say that I dig those shoes.
You know, I think if you're going to wear shoes like that, you got to go with the stirrups.
Yes.
You know, get that white going up a little bit from the white on the shoe. It's a little too much blue going into the white.
Agreed. But we're old-fashioned.
Yeah, well, we should, next show we'll do together is what not to wear. Here's the 0-2 to Blanco, and he rips one foul. What not to wear, the baseball edition. got plenty of ammunition from over the years. I mean, you know, you're not fond of your Met road uniforms back in the 80s.
Yes.
You go back to the White Sox wearing shorts.
Oh, gosh. Remember that was Bill Veeck. I remember seeing Greg Luzinski in those.
Bad luck. Blanco fouls another one.
How are you supposed to slide? Just not scuff up your knees.
It's like in the All-American Professional Girls Baseball League, like in League of Their Own.
That's right.
With the skirts. Get a lot of strawberries that way. 0-2 to Blanco. And he tries to hold the swing, but he went around.
Boy.
Strike 3. Angel Hernandez didn't even ask for help. So Blanco is out. That's the first out of the inning. Second strikeout for Wellemeyer.
Well, let's take a peek. It's a changeup. Well, here's a better angle right here. We'll see if it breaks. What do you think, Gare?
Could have swung.
Could have gone either way.
You know, I have trouble sometimes, even after all these years, determining exactly what constitutes a swing and what doesn't. Is it intent? Is it breaking the plane? Is it breaking your wrists? I think it all depends on umpire's interpretation.
I always grew up with the idea that it was breaking your wrists.
Not sure that's the way they call it anymore. Santana lays down the bunt. Molina getting to it slowly.
Oh, boy.
Just enough time to get Santana as he threw it into the runner and put his second baseman in jeopardy. 2-4 on the sacrifice.
You've got to know your opposition, and you know that Santana, I know we have the luxury of seeing him every fifth day. Santana runs everything out hard. And Molina just kind of lollygagged here and threw the ball into the line, and that almost could have cost him. That ball could have been knocked out of the glove.
So Cliff Floyd suffered a horrific injury on a play like that. And Todd Hundley ran into his extended arm trying to catch that ball and broke multiple bones in that arm.
And he never wanted to play first base again.
Could you blame him? I mean, it was a day when it wasn't all that big a gathering at Shea Stadium when he was playing for the Expos, and you could hear him in every seat in the house just wailing in pain. So Pagan bats with 2 in scoring position and takes low and outside. Angel walked and scored the only run of this game in the first. The Mets are still without a hit, but they've drawn 3 walks and been hit by a pitch. Luis Castillo on deck.
Well, you've got a pitcher out here struggling to get everything over. You can just eliminate his breaking stuff. First ball, fastball hit. Getting ahead in the count, too, if he's missing with the breaking ball. And just really have a very favorable 4 at-bats.
What a difference so far watching Wellemeyer compared to last night. Oh. We saw 2 pitchers working quickly, throwing strikes.
It was a treat.
He's just laboring over every pitch. One and one to Pagan. And Angel strokes one to left, slicing away from DeRosa. Can't get it with the dive. 2 runs will score. Pagan around second. He's on his way to third. A 2-run triple for Angel Pagan. 3-0 New York. Third triple of the year for Angel.
Oh, breaking ball. Oh, changeup. Good hitting. Ball away out of the reach of DeRosa here. And this school scored 2 easily, but the runners are going to score easily. But watch Pagan, if we can keep it rolling here. Watch him take his turn on second base. Look at him cut that corner. That is really terrific.
So the Mets' first hit is a triple that drives in 2.
Well, here he is right here, turning it on. You want to make sure you want that, will that ball down. And he just turns the corner so sharply, he can fly.
So Pagan, who had 11 triples last year, has his 3rd of this season. That ties him with Jason Bay for the club lead.
It's a big 2-out RBI right there.
0-2 to Castillo, who walked his first time up. So the Mets have just 1 hit, but now a 3-0 lead. As Wellemeyer's walks and hit batsmen come back to haunt them. And Castillo lines one, caught by Uribe to end the inning. A shot by Castillo. Uribe saves a run, but the Mets cash 2 in the second on Angel Pagan's opposite field 3-base hit past a diving Mark DeRosa. And now the Mets have handed Santana a 3-0 lead going to the third. Night. It'll be Downs, then Wellemeyer and Rowan for the Giants in the third inning. And here in the Ralph Kiner television booth, we're joined by Ralph Kiner. How are you, Ralph?
All right, very good, Gary. It's good to be here, be back in town. Thought you were going to be a little bit of a rain delay here at the beginning of the morning. It's great out there now.
On a clear day, you can see forever.
Well, it's one thing about those beautiful puffy cumulus that Bob Murphy used to talk about. Bob was a navigator in World War II, and he knows all those types of clouds, those cirrus clouds and cumulus clouds and
Nimbus.
Cumulus.
Cumulus. Keep going forever.
Yeah.
North into his clouds.
I always had that puffy cumulus, and they are beautiful. The only thing about puffy cumulus, and I was a flyer in the Navy, is you didn't want to get inside one of those things because they were really rough. Bounce around all over the sky. So you wanted to stay away from that.
That's why you had Navigator, right?
That's right. Well, Bob, of course, he would take you the long way around. There you see those puffy cumulus. They got a lot of turbulence.
Ralph, you've had a chance to look at the youngster at first base, Ike Davis. What's your impressions of him so far in his young career?
Well, I like him. There's only one thing about him that I wonder about, but you can certainly do it. He drops his hands and doesn't get them back up. And you got to be that way. You got to be basically a low ball hitter. And the high fastball should give you some trouble, as you all know.
So you say he's got like a little hitch in his swing?
Yeah, boy, there's nothing wrong with having a hitch, especially if you have a hitch and a hitch. That's the main thing. And make sure you got a big hitch.
Like Willie Mays.
Willie Mays, right. And in the old days of baseball, almost every player that played in the major leagues had a miserable hitch. They dropped their hands way down. Walker Cooper, who was a heck of a heavy catcher, dropped his hands down to his belt, but he got them back up to his shoulder.
Now the 2-2, and Downs stopped the swing. So full count to Downs leading off in the third. It's funny, isn't it, Ralph, how the what becomes emphasized in hitting changes over the years, and how hitting gets taught differently. You say there was a time when everybody had a hitch, and now you're in an era where virtually nobody does.
Yeah, but I think the main reason why it does change is that the pitchers change, and the pitching is done with a different approach to it. Now the main pitch for a long time was the split finger fastball, and now it's kind of gotten out of style, and it's back now to where the changeup's a big pitch. And
Downs wins that battle with a rocket to left. Bay gets over to play it on one hop. So on the 11th pitch of the at bat, Downs with a leadoff base hit.
Downs, an outfielder playing second base. I don't understand that, but he hits this ball well, and it's right down the middle.
Fastball, two-seamer. Wants to get it in and just kind of bled back over the plate. And Bay again just cuts that ball off. He's done a terrific job out there defensively. He's got a lot more speed than I originally thought, Ralph. Bay.
He covers a lot of the ground. Yes, you're right about that.
Wallemeyer up there to bunt, pushes one foul.
You know, one thing about slow motion, if you had slow motion eyes, wouldn't it be fun to hit?
Oh, yeah. That's when you're red hot. We had slow motion eyes.
You can see that ball turning around. You can see the spin of the ball. And you hear ball players tell you they can see the spin of the ball. There's no way he can do it. You might see something, but not the spin. It's just too fast.
There's a lot of talk about Bay's slump right now, Ralph, and Jerry kind of compared him. He's got an awkward swing, a different kind of swing, so it's more difficult to teach, to maybe instruct him to get out of his slump. What's your impressions of why he's in such a deep slump?
Well, I think basically all slumps are because the pitchers are making good pitches on you, and you have a difficult time hitting the two most difficult pitches to hit, the high inside fastball and the low outside curve. They are the two most difficult, and you're going to have less success with those two pitches than any other pitch that a pitcher can throw. Right here, they're looking for the bunt and a high fastball, really high, and that was a mistake there.
Let's check out who's hot. A couple of record setters last night. Jamie Moyer, oldest man ever to throw a shutout. Starlin Castro, first rookie ever to drive in 6 runs in his major league debut, at least since 1900. No record for Nick Swisher, but he helped the Yankees to a 10-3 win over the Red Sox. Yankees' 5th straight win. Who's hot brought to you by the Islands of the Bahamas. Visit Bahamas.com. 2-2 to Wallemeyer, still up there to bunt with 2 strikes, and bunts it foul. That's strike 3. Third strikeout for Santana. That's the first out in the third.
You know, the reason for a bunt attempt on a 2-strike pitch and it's hit foul is that at one time in baseball, way back when, you used to try and put the ball foul to where the pitcher's down. And they've been fouled off on purpose, and it would go only as another strike. And they put that rule in effect to speed up the game.
Now, of course, there are some hitters who are pretty adept at fouling balls off even without bunting.
Well, Richie Ashburn was one of the great ones. One time, Bob Prince, the announcer for the Pirates, said, I got a fan in the stands that's really giving me a bad time, and I want you to hit a line drive somewhere near him to scare him. And Richie got up there and lined one over, and he missed his fan by about 10 feet. Bob got up and yelled out of the announcer's booth. He said, over about 2 rows and over and 1 more row down. And he said, then you get him in there. But Richie was one of the good ones that foul balls off.
Luke Appling also could do that.
Well, that way, Appling was a great one for that. And he would foul off the ball on purpose, but that was not on a bunt. It's only on a bunt. That foul ball, you're out on a foul ball.
Aaron Rowan bounced out to short his first time up. And Rowan bounces one to short. That could be 2. Reyes to Castillo. 6-4-3 double play. And the side retired. So Santana gets the grounder he needs. Mets turn 2. lead 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the third at Citi Field.
Ballpark. We heard from Jim Watkins earlier, and this is a special day for Alex Cora because his nephew Jose has autism. He's 9 years old now. He was diagnosed when he was 3 years old, and Alex says he was very aggressive. And he said that the biggest thing is coming to terms with it, is seeing the signs, which his sister did, and really recognizing that. And they got him treatment at an early age. You know, they put him on a special diet. They got him a tutor. They did all the things to try and help in the process. And he said the biggest thing was recognizing that, because he said now Jose's made tremendous strides. He says he's so into sports, it's incredible. We talk on the phone all the time. He follows the Mets. He knows the standing. He knows the stats as Jose Reyes leads off here for the Mets and fouls that one off. And he said, matter of fact, we had the off day last week. I flew back home to Puerto Rico and spent the day with Jose. We went to Chuck E. Cheese. We went out to eat. He's doing great. He's made so much progress. So for Alex Cora, the awareness is the biggest part. Guys, back to you.
Reyes floats one out to left. On comes DeRosa to make the grab. Well, that's what Jim Watkins was talking about. It's all about understanding what autism is all about, getting early treatment, and certainly Alex's commitment to the cause is substantial. Eli Whiteside has come in to catch for the Giants. Remember, Molina was slow chasing that bunt by Santana, so I wonder whether there's anything ailing Molina. So Whiteside is in behind the plate. Here's Bay, who drove in the Mets' first run with a sacrifice fly. 11th run batted in for Jason. Mets with a 3-0 lead. They got 2 in the second on Angel Pagan's triple. Bay drives one to right center, but over goes Torres, and that's the second out. So 2 up and 2 quickly set aside by Willemeyer in the third. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
You see what happens when you throw strikes, Garrett? Get 2 quick outs.
Willemeyer, a guy who nearly beat out a 20-year-old left-hander named Madison Bumgarner for the 5th starter's job with the Giants this spring. Bumgarner's in AAA and has only had so-so results so far after a big year last year in the minor leagues. But Willemeyer knows that his job hangs by a thread.
Well, it hasn't in his first 3 starts. It has 4 starts. He has not been satisfactory.
He had the one good start against the Phillies his last start, and he pitched a terrific ball game. So he's had troubles, particularly early in games.
That was a 3-hitter for them, right?
Slider for a strike, and it's 2-1 to Wright, who struck out his first time up. Mets have had just the one hit, the Pagan 2-run triple. David backs away, 3-1. Of course, it was against the Giants last year that David got struck in the helmet by a Matt Cain fastball. And another one inside for ball 4.
Well, he's not throwing at him. There's no question about that. He's not trying to walk him either, but those pitches just are out of control, and it's his problem, and it won't keep him in the major leagues.
Now, how does that happen? Wellmeyer threw 5 straight strikes to start the inning, and then all of a sudden he lost the strike zone again.
Just an erratic pitcher that does not have command. And
that's exactly right, yeah.
You know, there's a lot of guys, like you see most of those guys in AAA.
You see a lot of those guys in AAA because they can't get the ball over the plate.
So now Ike Davis. Well, 2 years ago, Wellmeyer appeared to find himself. He had a terrific year with the Cardinals. He got the Dave Duncan cure.
Right, 13 wins.
But then last year, his results faded. He had some elbow problems along the way. Surfaced with the Giants as a free agent this spring. Won a job with a good spring training. Ike lays off and takes the fastball for a strike. Jeff Francoeur on deck.
He's already got 55 pitches. And he hasn't completed 3 innings.
22s are not good numbers.
Nope.
David not getting much of a lead at all. David stole a base last night, his 8th of the year. That ties him for 3rd in the National League in stolen bases. Trailing only Michael Bourne and Andrew McCutcheon. Wellmeyer gets ahead on Davis 0-2. Well, coming into the day, that's what the Mets had done against Wellmeyer the last 3 times they faced him.
You know, the one thing about pitchers, they can be wild, and you might not know it, but they're wild, what they call in the middle of the plate. And that's when you see the base hits. So the wildness can be a composite of walks and also base hits.
In other words, the guy's trying to hit a corner and throws it down the middle.
Right down the middle.
That's wild.
That's the whole thing. That's wild. And you see these pitchers that do throw the ball where they can and want it, like a Maddox, for example. They make it look so easy. You know, say, how can they do that? I mean, how do they get them out with no problem? It's because they're pitching the ball where it should be pitched. Maddox was one of the best I've ever seen at that. Of course, there have been a lot of those pitchers. You say, how can you come back at the bench and say, how can that guy get me out?
Comfortable 0 for 4.
1-2 to Ike, and it's down 2-2.
You know, we were talking earlier about Robin Roberts, who died the other day, one of the great pitchers of all time. He came up in 1948 with the Philadelphia Phillies, won over 20 games 6 consecutive years, and was one of the great fastball pitchers of all time, although he wasn't that fast. He was not up to 100 miles an hour, but he had a rising fastball. Now, every physicist in the world will tell you can't make the ball rise. But if you're a hitter, it's like a guy that wrote the article in Life magazine that said the ball doesn't curve. If you're a hitter, you know it curves.
You got to tell those physicists, get in the batter's box.
Yeah, try it. How about you stand up there and try it?
You tell me that ball's straight.
Wright runs and Davis fouls it off. Well, Roberts was a guy who threw strikes.
He threw strikes and he threw the ball where he wanted to do it, and he threw 4 out of 5 pitches for fastballs. But he had that rising fastball. He also was a pitcher that would pitch within himself. He wouldn't give you the 95-mile-an-hour fastball with men on base. He would get that to you when it counted, and you were trying to get a base hit to drive in a run. And then he would go to the 96 or 7 and rise the ball, and that's the way he pitched.
Sandoval moving left, throws out Davis, and that retires the side. So the Mets are done in the 3rd, leading 3-0. to subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Mets game live or on demand on your computer. Visit Mets.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Today's high-speed pitch brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, located on the web at MBUSA.com. Todd Wellemeyer topping out at 92. Johan Santana at 91. But it's Santana who has the edge on the scoreboard. 3-0 as we start the fourth. And Andres Torres takes a strike. We got word on Benji Molina. He left the game with a tight left hamstring. So his replacement, Eli Whiteside, will be up third in this inning. Now hitting in Molina's cleanup spot.
Well, the Giants can ill afford to lose a bat like Molina off a pitcher like Santana. The Giants are offensively challenged.
Hit hard, base hit for Torres. Third straight inning that Santana has given up a leadoff single. So Andres Torres gets things started for the Giants, their third hit of the game.
Another fastball down and into the right-hand hitter that gets getting in trouble. You can see right there. Two-seamer. Too much plate? Maybe not. It's good hitting.
Well, the one thing about this game, there haven't been many hits in the game. There only been 3.
Been a lot of walks.
A lot of walks, a lot of hit batters.
Well, Santana has not walked anybody in this game, and Met pitchers have now gone 27 innings without allowing a walk, which is phenomenal. As Sandoval floats one out shallow right, tough play, and Castillo can't get there. Pulling in at second base is Torres, and the Giants have the first 2 men on in the fourth. So Sandoval, who's been struggling so mightily, has his first hit of the series, a bloop.
Sometimes those bloops can get you out of a slump.
In fact, they usually do.
Really? You're right.
Well, it finally happened, and you say, well, they're going to even up now. No chance to get to this ball. It was done perfectly. And that's all luck. And that's the way he hits. He's a top hitter, puts the ball in play. Very tough to strike out.
So here is Whiteside, who caught last night, went 2 for 2. Also reached on that catcher's interference play with Barajas, and he takes a fastball for a strike. Eli Whiteside, who emerged as the Giants' backup catcher last year, and he's off to a hot start with the bat this season. Torres and Sandoval aboard with nobody out. Changeup missing, 1-1. Right side from New Albany, Mississippi.
You remember back in the 80s when the Giants had those road uniforms that had the SF on the side, like a patch like the Cubs, and they were so ugly. They had the black top, the black background. This is such a much better looking uniform. It's the old traditional Giant uniform, even though they used to have the piping like the old-fashioned uniform when the Mets wear them around the collar. But I love that San Francisco is such a beautiful name, and it's like a bridge span. And you got the Golden Gate Bridge. You've got the colors of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's an attractive uniform, attractive road uniform.
The color of the Golden Gate Bridge, what? Is it orange?
Yes.
It's a very attractive city. Off the end of the bat, little cue shot. And Ike Davis will pick it up in fair territory and get the out. So the runners advance to second and third. It's like a little masse from Whiteside.
You wonder whether he should have let that ball go foul.
Do you take the out here and the runners advance second and third? It's a tough call.
I would say I think I'd rather have it go foul.
Really? Okay. Well,
even with a 3-run lead.
Yeah, but Santana only because of Santana. Santana knows what to do with the situation better than anyone on the Mets staff. That's kind of it's like letting the ball drop foul and or catching it and then making it out. Like a sacrifice fly.
So now he'll take on the left-hand hitter Aubrey Huff, the infield back. Second and third and 1 out. And Huff lifts one to right. That'll get a run in at least. Back goes Frank Court to grab it. As Torres tags at third and comes in, and Sandoval does not move from second base.
Well, he was halfway,
he was halfway, and he went back to the bag and had no idea of even trying to go to third.
Now, it's okay to go.
Not a good play.
It's okay to go halfway because there's one out. You can see him right here in the middle of your screen, but it's a poor read. I mean, Francoeur it was clear he was going to get under the ball.
He did go back, but then thought better of tagging against the arm of Francoeur, I would imagine. So a sac fly for Huff gets the Giants on the board. It's now 3-1. 2 out in the inning. And Juan Uribe, the batter. And he fouls off the first offering. Boy, he likes to attack.
He likes the ball middle in. He's kind of one of those guys that flies open and crush that middle in and down. He's a nice player. Journeyman.
Filling in at shortstop with Edgar Renteria on the disabled list. And he drives one to the right side and threw into right field. The base hit. Sandoval trying to score. Here comes the throw by Francoeur. Not in time. An RBI single for Uribe cuts the Met lead to 3-2.
19th RBI for Uribe, and that leads the Giants. That's been a pleasant surprise for them. And that's just good hitting. That ball's inner half. He's inside outing all the way, right in the hole. And because of the 2 outs, Sandoval gets a good jump. He runs a little better than you think for a big guy.
He runs well for a big guy.
Yep.
You're right, yes. He is, I would guess he's what, 40 pounds overweight?
Well, I was 3 months ago 40 pounds overweight,
Okay,
Rob. What are you talking about?
That's why I asked you.
So when Ralph's saying is you're an expert.
I mean, there's no better expert than I know than you.
Castillo catches the pop-up by DeRosa to end the inning, but the Giants get closer with a couple of runs, and the Mets lead 3-2.
We're back here. We're going to show you basically the 2 same pitches. Got the same part of the plate. And notice how Downs, who pulls the ball, is hitting the ball more out in front. And watch how the arm collapses here, the lead arm, and the bat follows, and the inside out goes this way. And I'm a little bit slow there, but I also want to show the back foot. Look how he's anchored on his back foot on the inside out. Let me clear that so you can see. Now look at the weight transfer here on his toes, getting his weight forward. Ralph, you got a comment on that?
Yeah, the main thing is that he had no weight transfer whatsoever, so you can't drive the ball.
Right. And that's
weight has to go to the front side, like in golf, and that's the whole sequence too. Hitting the ball hard.
Now, I think that Uribe on that ball was looking for something away, going the opposite field, and got fooled inside, and this inside outed it that way.
He got lucky is what he did.
Yep. And Torres just really got the barrel of the bat out, or was it down that got that hit that really was a classic swing on an inside pitch.
Well, we always hear hitters nowadays talk about allowing the ball to get deeper, and I think you can see with Uribe how much closer to home plate the ball was when he struck it than Downs was when he was pulling the ball.
Yeah, but Gary, when you allow the ball to get deeper, you got to go to the opposite field. When you don't allow the ball to get deeper, you can pull the ball. And of course, the main thing you want to do in baseball is to be able to pull the inside pitch. And to contact the inside pitch, you have to hit the ball out in front of the plate by at least, I'd say, a foot, maybe even more. The more you hit in front, the longer it's going to go, and the more it's going to go toward the foul pole in left field.
Blanco fooled on the slider.
Really, the only ball you really hit, like you put a golf ball right between your legs and you hit the ball right there, is really the pitch outside corner if you're going to left field. Everything else, as the ball comes closer inside, you've got to go out and meet that ball, get ahead of it, and get it out in front.
You have to get it before it gets to the plate.
And that was a classic example on downswing, which was the left-hand side, with him getting the barrel of the bat out in front.
So you're looking at 60 feet 6 inches, and you've got to contact that ball about 59 feet 6 inches from the pitcher's mound.
I never thought of it that way, Ralph. You're absolutely right.
And Blanco lines a base hit. So Henry now has a hit in his 4th straight start.
And right there,
a 1-out base runner.
Sorry, Gary. Right there, it's a good example of getting out in front and getting ahead of the bat in front of the plate to pull that ball and hit it hard to left field.
You see right there, the contact was in front of his front leg. That was also a hanging slider, a ball you can catch up on.
The time for the ball to slide, if the pitch is so much slower compared to the fastball, that you get the bat out in front. And it gives you that chance to do that when it's a slider.
1 out. Santana showing bunt.
Well, here's the swing right here, and notice how he's making contact, probably right here.
Look at that weight shift, though. That's a
see,
nice thing.
This is the foot right there. That's the front foot that allows you, when you're on your toes, to, like Ralph said with a golf swing, to transfer your weight, because you're driving off your back foot and you transfer forward. When you inside out, you don't. You stay back, anchored on your back foot.
And you can transfer that weight whether you stride or not.
Yes. Well, Pujols has hardly a stride, and he transfers his weight.
I'll tell you, a pretty good hitter that never had a stride, and that was Joe DiMaggio.
He has legs widespread.
He had a wide stance, yes.
Kingman was that way. Dave Kingman was a big, wiry guy that had his feet wide apart.
Right, and he had good long arms on top of that. He got the ball out in front of that plate very often.
Santana pops up the bunt attempt, and Whiteside is there to grab it. So Santana successful sacrifice in the first time, but not this time, and that's the 2nd out.
Well, Santana usually a pretty good bunter, excellent bunter. Can't do it all the time, but he's one of the best bunters on this staff.
So 2 out, Blanco still at first, and here's Angel Pagano's working on a good day. Led off the 1st inning with a walk and scored a run. And then with 2 out in the 2nd, drove one to left field for a triple that played at 2. And that's the difference in this game right now. Mets with a 3-2 lead in the 4th. And the wind's starting to pick up a little bit. Haven't had quite the litter that we had during the Dodgers series when those papers were swirling out in center field, but wind is being clocked right now at 28 miles an hour.
Well, they're trying to make it like Candlestick Park.
Is that a good thing?
No.
That's a bad thing. That was one of the worst parks in the world. I think Vince Scully put it best. He said playing in Candlestick Park is like a graveyard.
Somebody sold Horace Stoneham a bill of goods.
Yes, it was the the mayor of San Francisco. It was his best friend. That it was a dump site.
His name was Christopher,
yes.
if I recall that well.
And they brought Stoneham over in the morning before
the winds came,
came in the afternoon. It was a dump site, and it was Christopher's best friend.
You could set your clock by the wind starting up about 2 o'clock. And at one time, the batting cage was blowing from behind home plate out to the pitcher's mound. That was for batting practice in the early part before the game.
Of course, it was probably worse back in the days before they closed the stadium. I never saw it then, but you guys did.
Yes.
Before they closed Candlestick.
It helped a lot. Yeah, it did help.
It didn't help much. It was a much more beautiful sight when it was open because you could see across the bay, and that was back in those days when I was a kid growing up. The Pacific Fleet was based there, and you always have aircraft carriers, and the whole Pacific Fleet would be in there. They're not anymore, of course. They're in San Diego.
I was stationed at Alameda, and that's where we flew off the water there, and right up the bay. And a couple of guys went underneath the Oakland Bay Bridge with their airplanes. It didn't really bode too well.
I guess not.
New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Chase. Their instant action alerts help you avoid overdrafts with the touch of a button. Chase, what matters.
You know, the old ballpark where the San Francisco Seals played was located almost in downtown San Francisco. And they had a brewery that was right in back of the home plate area, outside of the ballpark, obviously. And you could smell the beer.
McGowan strikes out to end the inning. We've played 4 at Citi Field with the Mets up by a run. Josh Johnson has the Nats up on the Marlins 3-1 in the 6th. Everything else later on. Joe Blanton makes his second start off the disabled list for the Phillies, who've won 4 in a row. Later on, Cubs and Reds, Brewers and Diamondbacks, Rockies and Dodgers. And the Dodgers are supposed to get Manny Ramirez off the disabled list today, which should help them try to escape last place of the West. Matt Downs leads off in the 5th inning, and Santana gets ahead of him. Downs, after an 11-pitch battle, single to left his first time up. Well, Santana had the 8 runs against him in the 4th inning in Philadelphia in his last start. And after holding the Giants off the board for the first 3, gave up 2 runs in the 4th inning today. Difference is today he survives to pitch in the 5th. Downs lifts one to left center. And May making the call. 1 out.
They looking up at the sun where it would be right at this moment and making that catch a little more difficult than it should have been. You know, talking about famous things, Abner Doubleday is credited with inventing baseball in the U.S. And the one thing that not many people know is that he was credited, and rightfully so, for putting the trolley cars in existence in San Francisco. So when they talk about Abner Doubleday, you think of not baseball. When you're in San Francisco, you think of trolley cars. And you might even think of Bennett. I lost my heart there.
Tony? So you're saying it's more true that Doubleday invented the trolley cars than it is that he invented baseball?
Absolutely. It's a fact.
Wellemeyer struck out trying to bunt his first time up, and Santana gets even 2-2. From all I've read, the story of the invention of baseball is probably pretty complicated. Wellemeyer down looking for the second out.
I think you really have to credit Cartwright with the organization of baseball in the U.S. He started in the New Jersey area.
Here's Aaron Rowan. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
We all know about Aaron Rowan and how he lays himself on the line. It seems like he has a diving catch every other day. And I asked him about the art of that, and he said, you know what, you can't practice it. He said, you know, in batting practice, you can't really simulate it. You need the game intensity, and you need really the right ball to lay out. So for me, the thing I've always been good at, fly ball come down and giving Chase Ike, trying for another tremendous catch, but that's a little out of his reach, guys. Not much, but a little. But he said, you know, the thing why I think I'm good at the diving catch is because as a kid, I always loved diving around. I like getting dirty. He said, I think it's something that if you didn't do it as a youngster, it's hard to get into now. I also talked to Bruce Bochy, Giants manager, about Rowan, and I asked him to rank him on the toughness scale. He said, well, the guy got drilled in the face, was shagging fly balls in the outfield next day and wanted to play. He's as tough as anyone I've ever played with or managed. It's a pretty strong statement.
Well, we saw him break his face in Philadelphia and wanted to stay in the game. This time Davis battling the sun.
Oh,
he
boy.
makes the grab. A step in foul territory to end the inning. So Santana gets his first 1-2-3 inning since the first and leads 3-2 halfway through. Now he faces the Mets in the bottom of the fifth. 2, 3, and 4 in the batting order. Castillo, Reyes, and Bay.
Well, he's given 5 free passes, Gary, 4 walks and a hit batsman. And the only runners to score are obviously the 2 of the walks and a hit batsman. starting to get his curveball over a little better right now. Last couple innings.
Castillo has walked and lined out to short. And Louis being patient, which he does about as well as anybody in the game. He's always been among the league leaders in fewest pitches swung at, lowest percentage swung at. Downs makes the play on the run and just gets Castillo at first. One away. Joe Wellemeyer's retired the leadoff hitter now in 3 straight innings, after walking the leadoff hitter in each of the first 2 innings.
Well, Downs here realizes that Louis got to hustle it up a little bit.
So 1 out, and now Reyes, who's into a fielder's choice and flied out to left, 0 for 2. Sandoval way in at third base. Reyes has done very little bunting for hits.
His whole career. And there was a time when they were trying to teach him to bunt more, if you recall. He's a hitter.
Checks his swing, and it's 2-0.
Well, there you go. You can see
this year and every year
what that means for the Mets.
This year it's particularly stark how much better the Mets do when Reyes performs well.
Well, the big key for Reyes really is stolen bases. And, of course, he has led the league in stolen bases. And when he isn't doing his best performance and stealing bases, he is not really doing what you want him to do.
They'll get a chance here. 5th walk given up by Wellemeyer. Picks viewers just like you are winning big money with Cash Grab, and you could be the next person to try and win $100,000 for your chance to enter the vault for 60 seconds and carry out as much cash as you can with the Pix 11 Cash Grab. Watch the Pix 11 News at 10.
You know, Gary, one of the things now with Reyes on at first base, and you're talking about stolen bases, if you got a cleanup hitter, and that's who's up there now, and Jason Bay, and he has to take a pitch, and it's a strike, and he doesn't go, it's putting the pressure on Jason Bay. I mean, how many pitches do you get when you're a power hitter that you can hit it well?
That's a very good point you make, Ralph.
Well, I don't think that Bay has taken any pitches to try to enable Reyes to steal, and you really wouldn't want him to.
Well, Reyes hadn't really attempted to steal. That was the whole thing. But if he's out there to steal, then you have to really think about let him go and get him on in scoring position. The
whole philosophy behind it was to get Bay more fastballs to hit with Reyes on base. So my feeling is let Bay swing the bat. If he sees something to his liking and Jose's running, well, that's just the way it goes.
In other words, look for fastballs.
It's more important to get Bay started right now.
And I think that's what's happened. I don't think Bay has really taken any pitches for Reyes. He does here as Reyes takes off and steals the base easily. And so Jose has his 6th stolen base of the year.
So we said you have to take a pitch and get the advantage of using the speed of Jose Reyes to steal second base, and that's exactly what his real advantage to your batting order needs.
So let me ask you this, Ralph. What do you think of Reyes hitting third? Do you like the idea or not?
I don't like it at all. I think you take away from his real ability. His ability is to be able to steal 60, 70, 80 bases or more if he really worked at it. I mean, you would look at the great base stealers, Ricky Anderson, Lou Brock, Maury Wills. Lou Brock is, of course, one of the great examples I've played. Got a fellow named Coleman. He was a good base stealer. Sold 80.
So he got to the Mets. Oh, foul. It's 2-1. Well, Reyes stole 78 bases in 2007. And then in 08, he ran less, stole 56. Of course, last year was hurt most of the year.
He played only 36 games last year. The real advantage is having him at second base with less than 2 out.
Brandon Metters, the right-hander, and Dan Runsler, the left-hander, up in the Giants bullpen.
There was a year where Red Chandies hit Lou Brock third, and that was an experiment that failed. And Lou was a fine hitter, 3,000 hits, but Lou's value was like Jose Reyes at the top of the order, leading off.
The value, of course, is a stolen base, and to utilize that,
Bay lines another one foul.
you have to really use those opportunities.
Jason had a sacrifice fly in the first inning to drive in the Mets' first run, fly down in the third. One hit in his last 19 at bats.
Well, he's had 2 breaking balls to hit, and he's pulled them both foul. He's just out. He's out in front.
Way out in front.
Reyes runs. Bay pulls one past Sandoval and down the line. That brings home Reyes. And it's 4-2 New York. Sandoval might have hurt himself. Went to cover the bag. Tried to change direction. And slowly getting up. Bay drives in his second run of the game. And it's 4-2 New York.
Well, you don't want to vacate your position too quickly. And let's watch the swing here. Fastball up and in. And there's that curl of the hand. And Sandoval breaks too quick. He hasn't got far to go from where he was positioned to get to third base. So you want to stay and don't vacate so quickly.
Well, the Mets taking advantage of the fact that Reyes was used to perfection in that sequence.
So Todd Wellemeyer is done for the afternoon. And Brandon Metters will come on. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon, the network with the most 3G. Veteran right-hander Brandon Metters comes in to pitch to David Wright and throws the first pitch fastball high.
And Metters has had a tough time of it. And look at his numbers left and right. He is not getting too many people out.
Now, 425 batting average against is not to be recommended.
No.
David today has struck out and walked 0 for 1. And Metters falls behind him 2-0. Mets have a run home here in the 5th. A walk to Reyes, who stole second, and Jason Bay singled him home. Wellemeyer walked 5 in 4 1/3 innings. It's brought his afternoon to a hasty close. Way inside. Well, that's the third one today that has buzzed David Wright.
Not either of the three intentional.
David gets away from that pitch the right way. He turned away from the pitcher and he got his head down.
Ball 4, so he walked right on 4 pitches. So Metters picks up where Willemeyer left off.
Well, we're going to take a look at Jason Bay's base hit, RBI singles last at bat, and we're going to watch off his back foot, the stride, and the contact again out in front, but he's kind of off his back foot. But you see again,
well, the foot came up there, though, Keith.
Yep.
Right there, it's up.
And that's the contact out in front.
You know, that's a good way to get a hitter out of a batting slot. We have the runner running with the pitch where he thinks, the batter thinks, he has to make contact and swing the bat. And it worked in that case very well.
Now 2 aboard for Ike Davis. And that's 5 in a row out of the strike zone for Metters. Davis walked and scored in the second, grounded out in the third. Jeff Francoeur on deck. Mets have only 3 hits in this game, but they lead 4-2. And the off-speed pitch misses badly. And now Metters will have a conversation with Whiteside.
Just amazing how they're pitching Ike Davis. They're pitching him like he's Babe Ruth or Lou Gehrig combined. I mean, he hasn't had 2 months in the big leagues.
Well, the wind has really picked up here at Citi Field. Tomorrow afternoon, the Mets and Giants conclude with an afternoon game at 1:10 p.m. Oliver Perez against Tim Lincecum. Visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX for your tickets now. Now, we've seen some pitchers early this season here at Citi Field, when it has been this windy, struggle to get a grip. Metters has thrown 6 straight balls, and now Wright was running, but Bay was not, and Wright is hung up.
What is he?
Bay makes it to third. Wright trying to escape, and now the tag is finally made as Bay was edging down the line from third, and Wright is out for the second out of the inning.
Well, Huff really blows the run down here. You always run the runner, you run the lead runner off the bag. And they almost blew this play. I mean, you've got now David. I think this was a double steal, and Bay missed it. Now
I think Bay got the sign because he was running with the pitch.
I don't know what Huff is doing right there. You just run David right into the second base, and then you go get the lead runner in Bay.
2-3-6 on the caught stealing. Bay moves to third. Now they're going to walk Davis intentionally and pitch to Francoeur. So 7 walks now for Giants pitching today.
What I think happened here was Bay, I think, felt he had a bad jump and pulled up.
And Wright was reading Bay and thought he was going.
Exactly. So you ran the risk of that rundown of Bay being able to creep down the line and possibly score.
So now first and third and 2 out for Francoeur, who's been hit by a pitch and struck out 0 for 1 as the papers begin to blow around the infield. And the curveball on the outside corner for a strike. We've seen some very windy days in this ballpark this season.
It's supposed to be windy tomorrow, too, isn't it? Blustery.
And a lot cooler tomorrow. Francoeur 1 for 5 in his career against Metters. And he loops one on the right side. And Huff grabs it in foul ground to end the inning. So the Mets settle for just 1 run in the inning. Ralph Kiner, fantastic having you here today. Thank you.
All right, good to be with you, Gary. Thank you.
Ralph, good to see you. Love the hand.
Thank you for letting us use your booth. Torres leads off the 6th inning against Johan Santana, who's working with a 4-2 lead. Torres singled and scored a run in the 4th inning when the Giants got both their runs. And he takes a strike, 1-1. Santana ran into trouble in the 4th, retired the side in order in the 5th, and now try to settle in. About to throw his 70th pitch with Sandoval on deck. And Torres trying to bunt his way on, fouls one back into the stands. Well, quite a test for Oliver Perez as he takes on Tim Lincecum tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, Lincecum with that 4-0 record. Look at that ERA sparkling. Look at the walks to strikeouts. Look at the opposition batting average. That's just.
They call him the Freak, and he is phenomenal.
And they say, he's up from that Northwest, up in Washington, that he loves to pitch. Mike Krukow, he loves to pitch in cold weather and damp. He doesn't like it when it's hot and humid.
Fastball, strike 3 call. Torres down looking. 5 strikeouts for Johan Santana. 3 of the 5 have been call third strikes.
Well, he fooled him with the fastball. Fastball away, snuck it right by him.
You mentioned Lincecum being from the Northwest. He said maybe his biggest thrill in the majors was this spring when Ken Griffey Jr., who Lincecum grew up rooting for in Seattle, came into the Giants clubhouse just to say hello to Lincecum.
Really?
He said for years it would have been the other way around. Sandoval bounces one foul, but it's funny when you grow up having heroes and all of a sudden your heroes know who you are.
Well, it's like my dad said to every Little League team every year when he had his first meeting with all the Little Leaguers, and he would say, there was a Mickey Mantle and a Stan Musial, and I'll be contemporary, Ken Griffey Jr. They were once your age too. Why don't you make it you?
Rolled slowly out to Reyes. And he guns down Sandoval for the 2nd out. That's 6 in a row now retired by Santana as he's settling into a groove. Well, Lincecum has been the goods over his first 3 seasons. He's made fewer starts than Dwight Gooden did in his first 3 years and gotten fewer wins, but he has been special.
Well, you see the complete game differential there. The game has changed.
Yeah, that's what that is.
And a lot of times the bullpen can cough up a game for you.
And that's, the fewer complete games, the fewer innings leads to fewer wins. And that's how Lincecum was able to win a Cy Young last year, winning 16 games.
And I think you get away from the fact when you used to have, say, the great pitchers get stronger later in the game, and they can shut the door when it's a tight game.
Up the middle, Castillo can't quite get to it. And it's a base hit for Eli Whiteside. And Castillo, who made a couple of phenomenal plays going to his right yesterday, couldn't quite get to this one.
Well, he made a game saver last night in the 9th inning. Prevented the Giants from getting ahead, and this ball just hit just out of his reach. Good effort. And there's the, too much plate there, right down the middle. But you don't hear that anymore because the bullpens have become such an important part of the game today.
Well, you hear it once every 5 days from Philadelphia.
Hey, Tom Seaver's out there. I got 3 at-bats off Tom Seaver through 6 innings with his great stuff. And a manager goes out there in the 7th and takes Tom Seaver out. It's like, I'll send him a cab. I'll send the manager a limo. Get him out.
Well, somehow Roy Halladay has something figured out that nobody else does.
Yes.
Got a plan to go 9. I mean, even the last start that he made against the Mets last Saturday, early in the ball game, the Mets were running up his pitch count. It looked like there was no way that he'd be able to go 9. I think he was at 73 pitches through 4 innings, but
what did he wind up in pitches that game? Do you remember?
115 maybe.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
But he was able to figure it out, especially once he had a big lead. 1-1 to Huff, and he drives one to center field. Pagan chasing back, has room, and makes the grab to end the inning. 6 innings for Santana and a 4-2 lead. without free score. Mets have led right from the outset this afternoon. Built a 3-0 lead. Giants cut it to 3-2. Mets tacked on a run on Jason Bay's second RBI of the day in the 5th inning. And the Mets with a 2-run edge as they bat in the bottom of the 6th. It'll be Henry Blanco, Johan Santana, and Angel Pagan against Brandon Metters, who came on to get the final 2 outs in the 5th. Blanco had a base hit his last time up, single to left center. Metters working in back of Todd Wellemeyer. One and one to Henry. Making his 9th start of the year today. Santana on deck. 79 pitches through 6 for Santana. So like Pelfrey last night, Santana's been able to keep his pitch count low. Pelfrey went 7 1/3 last night, the longest start by a Mets pitcher this year.
I think the one bad start in Philadelphia for Mike. I mean, everybody gets kicked around once in a while. I just think every start that he throws out there, he gets better and better.
Blanco pops one up, and Sandoval in foul ground. One out in the 6th. Well, the weatherman says right now the wind is coming in at 24 miles an hour, gusting to 37.
Where are you getting your information?
Going to weather.com. Where do you go?
I haven't been going lately, though. I have not been interested.
Okay. Then we won't talk about it anymore. Santana takes ball 1.
But I will be in the city the next 2 days, so I'll have to pack for a couple days. I will be very much interested to know how the weather's going to be Monday and Tuesday.
Well, let me tell you, you're working tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Dress warm. Okay? I'm telling you right now, it's going to be chilly here tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if you got the coat with the fur trim.
Is that cold? No.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
You want to forewarned is forearmed.
Maybe I'll just wear a sweater over a baggy jacket. So.
Santana takes a rip, and it's 2-2 to Johan, who has never hit a big league home run, but one of these days
he's going to get one because he's got a nice swing. I love this shot right here. What a great angle.
And Santana down swinging. First strikeout for Metters, and the second out in the bottom of the 6th. So the former Diamondback, Brandon Metters, after walking his first 2 hitters, has retired the next 3. And here's Pagan, who has the biggest hit of the game for the Mets, with 2 out and 2 on in the 2nd. He drove one the other way beyond the dive of Mark DeRosa and into the left field corner for a 2-run triple. Angel batting here with 2 out and nobody on, and he takes inside for ball 1. Well, they're playing a day-night doubleheader in Minnesota today.
That's right. They got rained out. Their first rain out.
First since 1980.
That's right. They're playing in that dome. Now, of course, Target Field.
They were blessed with incredible April weather in Minnesota this year. Every home game, the weather was just beautiful. Last night, they said it was on the verge of snowing, and they called the game 6 hours before it was scheduled to start. Reality. But they're playing today. Angel hits one to center field, and Rowan back to grab it with 2 hands. A 1-2-3 inning for Brandon Metters. 6 in the books now at Citi Field. Mets up 4-2. How is that possible?
How did I know that?
Juan Uribe drives one to left. Bay chasing back and makes the grab on the warning track. First pitch swinging as he has been the entire series. Juan Uribe, a long out.
Well, with that wind blowing from the west, and that's here, hit it. Try to hit it out of this ballpark.
Well, the wind might help on a ball to right field. It's not going to really help that much on a ball to left today. Here's Mark DeRosa with one out. DeRosa struck out and popped up 0 for 2. Santana checking behind him to make sure Pagan is stationed where he needs him. And DeRosa takes a strike. Well, we got the weather forecast from Minnesota. Just so you know, they're playing there. It's 48 degrees.
Cold.
With a 16-mile-an-hour wind.
That's freezing.
And I don't think it'll be that cold tomorrow, but that's the weather that's heading this way. Reyes throws out DeRosa, and with just 3 pitches, Santana has the first 2 outs in the 7th.
Well, we talked about it earlier, how the good pitchers get better as they get deeper into the game, and now Santana, with the two-run lead, is settling in, and like all great pitchers, knows how to close the door, and he's just all of a sudden now the last 2 2/3 has just been in a groove.
And his changeup, which was so early in the game, all of a sudden it's becoming a weapon for him again.
All great pitchers, when you give them the lead late, they usually shut the door.
So Santana trying to get past 7 for the first time this year. 2 out in the 7th. 4 last night. No Met pitcher had gone more than 7 innings this year. Santana has gone exactly 7 once. That was in the 20-inning game in St. Louis. 1-1 to Matt Downs, is 1 for 2. Ryan Rollinger has come out on deck to be a pinch hitter if Downs can keep the inning going. Rollinger just called up yesterday. Actually, no, it's Nate Shearholz who's on deck. There's the changeup from Santana, and it's 1-2.
This is the first time inning now, the last 2 innings where he started to bring his changeup to the forefront. Hasn't thrown a lot of breaking balls today.
Nope. 1-2 to Downs. A little bit low. Santana's retired 9 of the last 10 hitters to face him. He's given up 2 runs and 6 hits. And no walks. 2-2. Popped up in foul ground. That'll go out of play. So Met pitchers have now gone 30 innings without issuing a walk. Remember that for most of this early season, Met pitchers have led the National League in walks. No more. They had issued the 3rd most walks in the National League coming into today, and all of a sudden, the walks have disappeared.
Well, and one of the main reasons why this bullpen has been outstanding and this rotation has been outstanding. A lot of credit to Dan Warthen.
Also, you come home to this ballpark, there is no excuse for not throwing strikes.
There's Big Dan.
2-2. Struck him out. Foul tip held by Blanco. 6 strikeouts for Johan Santana. And the Giants go 1-2-3. 7th inning stretch time. 4-2 New York. Luis Castillo takes a strike as we start the bottom of the 7th. Luis 0 for 2 and a walk today. It'll be Castillo, then Reyes and Bay for the Mets in the bottom of the 7th against Brandon Metters. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Well, guys, we all know that Luis always making counts, taking them full and being very patient. And I asked him his approach and what his thinking is at the plate. He said, well, I'm not going to hit home runs. I don't need fly balls. So to me, I just want to get on base any way possible, and I want to make the pitcher work. And he might get on base here. Opposite field single will do it this time for Castillo. And, you know, he said, look, you know, I want to see everything that pitcher has. And not only that, I want to show the guy behind me everything that pitcher has. He said, I think that's beneficial. Now, if I'm 0-2, I'm going to be more aggressive trying to stay alive. But if I'm 3-1, I'm going to get the same fastball I'm going to get on 3-2. So if it's not absolutely perfect, I'm just not going to swing at it. That's my philosophy about trying to get on base, guys.
Well, Louis has swung at 34.6% of the pitches he's seen this year, the 3rd lowest in the National League.
And you would hope that the players in the on-deck circle are paying attention on the bench what the pitcher's throwing. And another point that Louis says he's going to get the same, I thought it struck me, was I'm going to get the same fastball 3-1 as 3-2. That's because he's hitting in the 2-hole. He's not going to hit a home run. And you got the 3, 4, and 5 hitting behind him. So it makes perfect sense.
1-0 to Reyes, who walked, stole a base, and scored a run his last time up.
Kevin always gets those little nice little tidbits, doesn't he?
Kevin is outstanding. Jason Bay, who's had a nice day today, waiting on deck. And Reyes pulls one foul. 1-1.
Well, Keith, how much does that help you? You're standing behind Castillo here, and you got a reliever in the game. You're seeing him for the first time. How much does that help? I know that at bat he didn't do it, but how much does that help taking a count deep and letting him throw 3 pitches to see the break and things like that?
Well, I always paid attention. Every left-hand hitter that got up to the plate in our lineup when I played my whole career, I would pay close attention, Kevin, whether I was in the on-deck circle or I wasn't even going to hit that inning. It was the 7th hitter was a left-hand hitter. I sat as close as I could in the dugout to home plate to get a good look at what the pitcher was throwing. Now, this new ballpark here, the dugouts are much further out towards first base than they were at Old Shea. Shea was right almost, you could be where the on-deck circle is, maybe 10 feet to the first base side. I mean, they used to come, the dugouts used to come in here, and you can get a better angle to look at the pitcher. Now, with this new dugout, it's a little more difficult.
Reyes lifts one to center.
But still, you got to pay attention.
Rowan's got it one away. Well, for instance, you're with the Mets. You've got Dykstra and Backman hitting ahead of you.
Right.
You talk to those guys as they come off, or you're just watching the pitches?
If Lenny and Wally were tough strikeouts, if they struck out, I would ask them what gave you trouble, because they didn't swing and miss too often. And they would say, well, he had a pretty good little break. It usually was a breaking ball. Uncle Charlie is always, no one wants to hit a great curveball.
Well, here's Bay, who's driven in half the Met runs today with a sacrifice fly and a single.
And you would ask, okay, what's the movement of someone new? Is he straight? Does he sink? Does the ball sail? How hard is he throwing? And it would either be, he's okay, he's got a little sinker, or he's got a hard sinker, or he's sneaky. Be ready. They can get it down. The ball kind of takes off upstairs.
Bay drives one to left field. DeRosa toward the line. Gets over there to grab it. Jason swung the bat a lot better today. A hard out there for the second out of the inning.
Still a little quick. That was off the end of his bat, I believe. Let's take a peek. Little cutter. Yep, off the end of the bat. He's just quick. You see, it's just a matter of him waiting a split second longer, and that's all it is with the ball coming in that hard. It's a split second longer waiting. But Gary, all that stuff you can say about, okay, he's this, he's that, his pitch is this and that, is no substitute to getting up there and seeing the pitch.
Here's David Wright, who's walked twice and struck out 0 for 1. David started the day with a 10-game hitting streak, still looking for his first hit of the day. And the curveball drops in for a strike. Mets have had only 4 hits in this game. But that's been enough so far, with Santana pitching 7 terrific innings and set for more.
The Giants have walked 7 and hits batsmen.
0-2 to right.
All of their runs have been off walks or hits batsmen.
Rellemeyer, the starter, went 4 1/3, allowed 4 runs, 3 hits, 5 walks, a hit by pitch, and a wild pitch. David pops one foul. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by the Islands of the Bahamas. For a limited time, get a free companion airfare to the Bahamas. Visit Bahamas.com. Sounds like a good deal.
Nice weather down there right now. I just had some friends that went down to Cat Island, which is further south of the Bahamas, and they went there for 4 days fishing. And they said they had a great 4 days of fishing.
Bring you anything?
We caught a lot of dolphin and wahoo, which is great eating, particularly like any fish when you get it, you catch it there and you eat it that night, and it's just as fresh as can be.
So you're saying they didn't bring you anything?
No, I'm way up here.
Not even like a t-shirt?
No. Nope.
Here's the 0-2, a pitch out, but Castillo's not moving.
It's like Louis a little bit limpy over there.
Castillo flexing that left leg. Sometimes, though, when Louis looks his gimpiest, he's running his fastest. And Wright chases the fastball away. Metters has a strikeout, his second, and that ends the inning. Mets waste a leadoff hit. Santana back to the mound for the 8th, up by 2. A 4-2 lead. Luis Castillo took his position for the 8th inning, but the trainer Ray Ramirez and Jerry Manuel out there, and you can see, as Keith had noted when he was on first base, that Castillo looking a little gimpy, and so he's going to come out of the game, and I imagine we'll see Alex Cora to play second base. He's flexing that left leg when he was standing down at first.
Left leg, or it might be his ankle, I'm not sure. But he's going to go in there and probably just get some ice on it. It's always a good thing.
So Santana will have to wait. Apparently Cora was not immediately available.
And here we have
to wait a moment.
We have another Met starter going into the 8th inning. I love it.
2 days in a row after no Met starter went beyond 7 over the first 28 games of the year. Nate Scherholtz will come up to pinch hit for Brandon Metters, leading off for the Giants in the 8th. Well, Alex was right on the scene yesterday in the 9th inning to catch Ike Davis when he flipped over the railing. Now there he is.
He's ready to go.
He took off his gymnast spotting gloves and got his second baseman's mitt.
Well, this is Louis right here, and you can see he didn't hurt it there. I just think he's just, you can see that favoring that right leg, or right ankle.
So Santana will throw in some additional warm-up pitches while Coro warms up his arm. While he does, let's take you on a tour of Citi Field, brought to you by Nissan, who invites you to shift the way you move. Just a beautiful day in this gorgeous setting here in Flushing. Love those light towers. So artistic. See the sweep of the stands. Look at the right field corner. Nate Sherholtz takes a strike from Santana as we start the 8th inning. Johan has retired 10 of the last 11 hitters. Sherholtz had been hot coming into this series, but went 0 for 4 last night. And interesting that Bruce Bochy uses a left-handed pinch hitter against Santana. He has a right-handed pinch hitter available in Ryan Rollinger. But Sherholtz gets the call. Aaron Rowan and Andres Torres to follow for the Giants in the 8th. And Sherholtz takes a change up for a strike.
Well, Sherholtz hitting .438 early in the season, 7 for 16 against lefties.
And yet kept out of the lineup today against Santana. Here's the 1-2. Foul tipped, couldn't be held by Blanco. Santana has struck out 6. He has walked none. Met pitchers have now gone 31 innings without issuing a walk. Trying to beat the Giants for the 3rd time in his career without a loss.
92 pitches on the day, 66 strikes.
Here's the 1-2. And he bounces it. 2-2. Well, quite a bounce back for Santana. He knew that was going to happen after the worst start of his career in Philadelphia. A career high 10 runs allowed. Stroked over the bag, and a base hit for Sherholtz, taking it the other way. Bay tracks it to the line. Sherholtz slams on the brakes and goes back to first base. So Sherholtz pinch hitting against the lefty, and he comes through with the Giants' 7th hit off Santana. And that will enable the Giants to get the tying run to the plate.
Nice hitting. Good pitch. Look at that little cut fastball. That is just beautiful hitting. That is a pitcher's pitch, and taking what the pitcher gives you. That is a fine at bat. And you can see right there, that's the only, he's hitting it right up the plate. And that's not inside outing. That's just on the black outside corner, and that's where you hit that pitch. That is a beautiful angle to show that.
Now Aaron Rowan takes a strike. Rowan, who had been a red-hot hitter since coming off the disabled list 5 days ago, 0 for 3 today, including a double play grinder in the 3rd. Santana would be thrilled with another one of those. And Rowan drives one into center field for a base hit. Pagan gets over to play it on a hop. Sherholtz will go 1st to 3rd, and the Giants have the tying runs on base, 1st and 3rd, and nobody out. So Rowan with his 1st hit of the day.
So both hitters going the opposite field, and there's another fastball away, going right with it. And you don't want to get doubled up, and nice read. You can assume that you're not the go-ahead run, that you're not going to try to throw you out. They're going to keep the tying run at first base and the double play in order.
Bullpen cranking. The usual 8th inning suspects. Fernando Nieve and Pedro Feliciano were both up. Nieve pitched last night. Feliciano did not.
This Giant team has got some spunk.
Well, the Giants have executed well in this series. Now they've got the tying runs on base and nobody out, and the light hitting Andres Torres stepping in. Torres 1 for 3. Singleton scored in the 4th.
I'm sure that Santana would love to serve up a double play here.
This will be his 97th pitch of the day, and it's lined to short, caught by Reyes, and the runners get back.
Wow.
Torres hit it hard, but that's the first out.
Well, that was big trouble right there. 5 feet to the left or right of Jose, or 5 feet higher. That's a base hit.
So a warning sign there. 3 hard hit balls in the inning.
Watch the runner. Watch the lead runner. Actually, watch them both. No one fooled. Good base running.
So now 1 away, and here is Pablo Sandoval, 1 for 3 today, a bloop single in the 4th. He's been cold. Santana trying to keep him that way.
A double play guy right here.
And a fastball strike, 0-1. Sandoval has grounded into more double plays than any hitter in the National League.
Look at DeRosa right behind him. You got 2 guys on the same team.
And Sandoval chasing that fastball down, 0-2.
Boy, he is struggling. I've never seen him swing the bat so poorly. He is really mired in a bad slump. Big stride.
Santana has struck out 6. Fouled away. And Sandoval swings at just about everything. Hangs in there.
That was a very defensive swing right there. He does not feel comfortable at all. He's jumping and
the Mets have worked him upstairs with fastballs for 2 days now. Hit in the air to left field. That should get the run in. Scherholtz tagging at third as Bay makes the grab. Throw goes to second. Sacrifice fly for Sandoval. Cuts the Met lead to 1. It's 4-3. So Sandoval drives in his 11th run of the year. And the tying run, Rowan, holds at first. So here's Eli Whiteside, and that's going to be all for Santana, with Whiteside coming up. Jerry's going to take the ball and bring in Fernando Nieve to face the right-hand batter. This call to the bullpen. Johan Santana out after 7 2/3, the longest outing by a Mets starter this season. A third more than Pelfrey went last night. And now he hands it off to Fernando Nieve, who came on last night in the 8th inning and got 2 big outs. Brought in here to face Eli Whiteside with the tying run at first in a 4-3 game. And Nieve misses away for ball 1.
Well, Nieve has just been the workhorse of this staff. And you can see 18 games. That ties him for the lead in appearances in the National League. And I think
all to himself now.
He is a rubber arm. That's what he is.
19 appearances in the first 30 games. That works out to a pace for 103 appearances now. He's not going to be in 103 games this year, but it gives you an idea just how heavily he's been used early in the season. Whiteside came on. Sorry, Keith.
Okay. No, he's been good.
Whiteside came on when Benji Molina suffered a tight hamstring in the 3rd inning and came out of the game. 2-1.
See, right there, 2-0. You're down a run in the 8th inning. I don't believe in taking 2-0. That's a hitter's pitch. Swing the bat, fastball right down the middle. You're not looking for a walk here. You're looking to advance the runners. Hit a double. You got 2-0 pitch, a pitch to drive.
Swing and a miss at the fastball at 93. Well, this is a one-batter assignment for Nieve, whether he gets Whiteside or not, with the left-hand hitter Huff on deck.
Just a fastball upstairs. Beats him. Go up the ladder. Another fastball upstairs.
Two to Whiteside. Lined into right field for a base hit. Pulling into second is Rowand, and so the Giants now have the tying and go-ahead runs on base. And in all probability, now we'll see Pedro Feliciano come in to face Aubrey Huff.
And there goes Jerry, and this is the right move. Nice hitting. Let's watch where he hits it. Right up the plate. See, he hit it right in between his legs, and that's how you drive a ball to the opposite field.
Well, Whiteside was 2 for 2 last night, 2 for 3 coming off the bench today. Nieve out, Feliciano in. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Wachovia, a Wells Fargo company. Game-winning home run to Orlando Cabrera on Wednesday.
Well, you can see Pedro has stranded all 6 of his inherited runners, and Jerry looking for him to do it again here.
Facing Aubrey Huff, who's 0 for 2 in a sacrifice fly today, and he takes the fastball off the plate. Huff is 3 for 5 with a home run in his career against Feliciano. The tying run, Rowand is at second. Whiteside at first with 2 down. And Huff takes a slider for a strike. 1-1.
Well, watch the front shoulder. Oops. That you're dead when you do that on a breaking ball.
One. Lined in a left field, a base hit. Rowan turns third, heads for the plate. He scores without a throw, and the Giants have tied the game.
Wow.
For the second straight night, the Giants have rallied against the Mets bullpen. Huff with his second RBI of the day, and it's a 4-4 game.
Impressive at bat. Watch him go the other way. Little cutter. Oh, what a nice level swing on that pitch. I told you, Gary, you don't go up here in this situation off a tough lefty and try to hit a home run. Try to continue the rally, and it's exactly what Huff did, who's a power hitter. That is a nice turn at bat right there.
Jerry's on his way out to the mound. Nieve gave up a hit to his only batter, Whiteside. Feliciano got a ball up and gave up a hit to Huff. And now Henry Mejia will be called upon to try and get the right-hand hitter Juan Uribe out. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Wachovia, a Wells Fargo company. This game now tied in the 8th inning. Here on picks. Well, Henry Mejia, the third Met reliever of the inning.
Well, he's on a nice scoreless streak right now of 9 innings. And that goes back to way back to the middle of April. And he is lefties hitting only .214 against him. He has just been really wonderful and has kept going, Gary. That great spring he had where he made the ball club, and he's pitched well for his team.
Pitched last on Tuesday night. Now he's only inherited 1 runner this year. Here he comes in with 2 men on base to try and keep this game tied, with Whiteside at second and Huff at first. He comes in to face Juan Uribe, who's been attacking first pitch fastballs. Uribe 1 for 3 tonight. This afternoon he's driven in a run. 2 on and 2 out, tie game in the 8th, and he attacks the first pitch and misses it, 0-1. Well, he has done a great job getting that first hitter out.
That 1 home run was in Colorado, where he lost that ball game.
On the Chris Iannetta home run. Iannetta since sent to the minor leagues by the Rockies.
So good first pitch, first ball fastball hitter. Let him off with a slider.
Well, it goes in the books as a blown save for Feliciano, the Mets' 6th blown save this year. That's the bad news. 0-1 to Uribe. Checks the swing, and did he swing? Nope. 1-1. The good news is that 4 of the first 5 blown saves for the Mets this year, they've rallied to win, including last night.
Remember now, Uribe poked the ball through the right side of the infield, the opposite field.
That was in the 4th inning against Santana. Hits this one in the air down the right field line. Francoeur over into foul ground, and it's out of play.
Wind blew that ball foul.
Wind is gusting left toward right. So it's 1-2 now to Uribe. Blanco and Mejia getting together. Well, for the Giants, this is their first look at Henry Mejia. First time around the league against teams that didn't see him in spring training. He's been very impressive.
And if you remember, the Marlins, when they touched him up, they said that they faced him enough to know what he had coming into the season.
And they were taking that cutter to right field. 1-2 now to Uribe. And he got tied up. Did he go? He went around strike 3. And the inning is over. Mejia gets the check swing call on Uribe and comes in to put out the fire. But the Giants rally for 2 and get even. There's the half swing. Mike Davis set to lead off for the Mets in the bottom of
And take a look at the batting average. Left-handers highly successful thus far off him. He's 4 of 11 with a home run, but he's coming in to pitch to Ike Davis.
And Ike has been more than successful against left-handed pitching. The 2 home runs last night against Jonathan Sanchez, the first Met rookie left-handed batter in history to hit 2 homers off a lefty in the same game.
I have a hunch that Mr. Davis is going to be breaking a few more records as long as he stays healthy and in a Met uniform. And I think if he stays healthy, he's going nowhere.
That's what he's done so far. 7 for 11 with 2 home runs. I don't think he's going to hit .636 all year against lefties, but that's a good start.
He's impressed me with his ability to go to the opposite field.
And he takes a fastball strike from Affeldt, who is still throwing hard at age 30. Affeldt had a really good year for the Giants last year in his first year with them. He was with the Rockies in '07 when they made that great run. Part of their bullpen. Had a good postseason that year. And he's ahead on Davis now 0-2 with Francoeur and Blanco to follow for the Mets. The Mets have had only 4 hits today. Brandon Metters went 2 2/3 in relief, allowed no runs and 1 hit. So Todd Wellemeyer's off the hook now. And Davis takes one just off the plate. 1-2.
Well, the only thing I can say about Ike, and you don't want to make any changes with him right now, is that as you look at him more, as he gets more comfortable, maybe just move maybe 3 inches, 2 inches closer to the plate.
curveball had him completely fooled. And Affeldt strikes out Davis to start the bottom of the 8th.
Well, it happens. Don't feel bad. He drops a hook on him here and buckles his world. He just did not pick that ball up out of the hand.
It's a replay he's just not going to want to see.
That's an ugly swing. But fortunately, that's the only bad swing I've seen him take this year.
So 1 out, and now Jeff Francoeur, who's 0 for 2 today, and he takes a strike. Jeff 0 for 6 in this series and just 2 for his last 21.
That is just such a wonderful angle. Boy, Francoeur looks really, really awkward up at the plate. He's struggling.
Got hit by another pitch today. This one on the upper arm. That was in the 2nd inning. He came around to score a run. Since then, he struck out and fouled out. Now Affeldt to head on Francoeur 0-2. And it's up and away and off Whiteside's glove. Jeremy Affeldt first started out in Kansas City, where he was closing for a while. Has found his niche as a lefty hard thrower, and his slider runs in on Francoeur, who turns it around. That's Francisco Rodriguez up in the bullpen, hoping he'll have a save chance in the 9th. And the curveball, this is outside. 2-2. Now the 2-2, and Francoeur goes down swinging at the fastball. Back-to-back strikeouts for Jeremy Affeldt to start the last of the 8th. So 2 out and nobody on. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, located on the web at MBUSA.com. So now Henry Blanco bats with 2 out and nobody on. Blanco 1 for 3 today, single back in the 4th. And Blanco takes up and away. Well, Rod Barajas has been hitting for all the power for the Met catchers this year. 9 home runs. See if Blanco can run into one. Fernando Tatis on deck to pinch hit if Blanco keeps it going. 2-0. Henry hit 6 home runs last year and just over 200 at bats with San Diego. He's hit as many as 10 home runs in a season. And he takes a strike, 2-1. Henry Blanco now 38 years old.
And in good physical shape, and that's why he's still playing, because that is a very tough position, catching, obviously.
Affeldt keeping the fastball away from him, 2-2.
Yeah, Affeldt looks good today.
Now the 2-2 to Blanco. In the air to shallow center. Rowan started back, now coming on, and it drops beyond the reach of Uribe. Blanco takes a wide turn and goes back as the first baseman Huff goes sliding into second base to take the throw.
Well, nice hustle by Huff, who realized no one was, second base was vacated. This ball could have been placed in a better spot. Almost caught by Uribe. All 3 converging. There's the triangle right there.
Bermuda.
And Blanco hustling. Watch Huff. There you go. Huff got wise to it and realized that second base was vacated. Very heads up by Aubrey.
Fernando Tatis. And he pops the first pitch up. The wind blowing it toward the line. Downs and Scherholz, and it drops. Blanco to third. He'll be held up there. Tatis into second, and the Mets have 2 in scoring position. Well, that was trouble from the moment it left the bat, with that wind blowing the ball toward the right field line. Downs and Scherholz kept looking at each other, and it finally fell.
Well, it looked like Scherholz wanted nothing to do with this ball. It's a tough chance, a long run for Schuerholz and Downs. Schuerholz, that's got to be his ball. He's got to call it off and take it. He's got to want to have it. Sorry.
So a couple of pop fly hits for the Mets. That's a double for Tatis, who's now 5 for 10 as a pinch hitter this year.
And with 2 outs, Blanco's going to be running. He doesn't run well, so he's not going to score on this.
Chip Hale had to hold him up. Now Angel Pagan, who drove in 2 runs with a triple back in the second, looking to get the lead run home from third.
And that was a 2-out triple, so he's in the same position here to drive in 2 with 2 outs.
I wonder if Rod Barajas' finger were feeling a little better, whether Jerry might pinch run for Blanco, might have pinch run for him when he was on first.
That's a good point. You've already lost Cora. You could have used Matthews, absolutely.
Or even a pitcher, John Maine. Pagan has struggled as a right-hand batter this year, and he grounds 1 out to second base. Easy play for Downs to throw him out, and so the Mets get a couple of pop fly hits but can't convert. And we head to the 9th at Citi Field, still tied at 4. As we go to the 9th, and Francisco Rodriguez, who got a vulture win last night, blowing the save and getting the W, will come on in a tie game today.
Well, I'm sure that Frankie would love to give up that W and put a save on there, but unfortunately, a nice at bat. Clutch pinch hit home run by John Bowker.
Mark DeRosa will lead off the 9th inning against Frankie in a 4-4 game. DeRosa 0 for 3 today and takes the fastball high. It'll be DeRosa, then Matt Downs and Nate Schuerholz, 7, 8, and 9 in the order for the Giants in the 9th. The Giants have out-hit the Mets 10-6 this afternoon and have come from behind all day. Looped into shallow right. On comes Frank Core, and he makes the knee-high grab. One away.
Well, Frank Core sure does get good jumps on balls, doesn't he? He doesn't run. He's not what you'd call a speed runner out there, but he covers so much ground because he gets terrific first 2 steps. Great reaction on the ball off the bat. Nicely done.
I wonder if he'll stay with that high sock look.
I bet you he doesn't.
Well, if he doesn't get a hit, he won't. Here's Matt Downs. Up and in, 1-0. Downs 1 for 3, singled against Santana back in the 3rd. Johan left with the lead, But Nieve and Feliciano each gave up a 2-out hit in the 8th, enabling the Giants to tie the game before Henry Mejia struck out Uribe to keep it tied. And the curveball drops in for a strike, 1-1 to Downs. Santana went 7 2/3, the longest outing by a Mets starter this year. Wound up being charged with 4 runs and 8 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts. A no decision game for Johan. A-Rod now the 4th reliever. Popped it up, playable in foul ground. And it's Davis coming together with Blanco, and Blanco caught the ball. Well, Henry Blanco going out a long way as Ian Davis a little confused as to who was going to play it, but Henry did.
I think that it's the first baseman's ball here, and there's no call. Let's see if he's calling for it.
Looks like he is.
Yes, got to call a little louder.
And that ball popped out of Blanco's glove, and he was able to cradle it against his chest protector. So no harm, no foul. 2 out and nobody on, and now Sherholtz comes up for the second time. He came up as a pinch hitter in the 8th against Santana and got that 2-run rally started for the Giants by skimming a base hit between right and the third base bag. And he pulls one into the glove of Mike Davis. Side retired. 6 pitches, and Frankie Rodriguez sets him down 1-2-3. Mets got their first walk-off win of the season last night. Will they have another one in them today? For the second straight day, the Mets come up in the last of the 9th, tied 4-4. Alex Cora leads off against Jeremy Affeldt, and Cora takes a strike at the knees. First at bat for Cora, who came on for Luis Castillo in the 8th. There ain't no medical word on Castillo yet. Alex has 7 at bats against lefties this year, 1 for 7. And he grounds one right back to Affeldt, knocks him over, but Affeldt recovers and throws him out.
Jeez. Oh, what was that you said?
Can't say that on TV.
Feel like Cluzo there. Wow, where does he go? And that was going to get him in the chest.
I think he was just shying away from it because I don't think he saw it well.
He picked it.
He was backing away as though he didn't see it well, but it went right in his glove. So a bit of a scare for Jeremy Affeldt, but he's all right. Now Jose Reyes will step in. Reyes 0 for 3, walked, stole a base, scored a run in the 5th. And he takes a fastball for a strike, so Affeldt keeps throwing strikes. Struck out 2 in the 8th inning. Got a couple of pop-ups that fell, but was able to get himself out of the jam by retiring Pagan on a ground ball. Last night, Rod Barajas hit a walk-off home run, the first walk-off home run in Citi Field history. Mets didn't have a single walk-off home run last year. One and one to Reyes, and the curveball bends in for a strike. 1-2.
Boy, that tied up Jose in knots. What a big hook this was. Well, if they can do this every time, there'll be no 300 hitters. Wow.
No 200 hitters. 1-2. And he fouled off that breaking ball. Now felt the third Giants pitcher of the day. Todd Wellemeyer went the first 4 1/3. Walked 5. Brandon Metters walked the first 2 to face him, but then pitched well over 2 2/3 to hold the Mets at bay. Jason Bay on deck.
You're so clever.
That's our director, Dan Barr. He set me up. 2-2 to Jose, who's looking for his first home run of the season. Two. Bouncing ball, slowly hit. Uribe has to come in and make the quick throw to get Reyes. Nicely done by Uribe for the second out.
Well, Jose continues to struggle and find his stroke since coming back. And Uribe knows he has to work hard and work quick, get that ball there. No wasted motion.
Well, it's been an encouraging day for Jason Bay. A sacrifice fly in the first inning, an RBI single in the 5th. Jason has 1 home run as a New York Met. Bats here in a tie game with 2 out in the last of the 9th. 2 career at bats against Affeldt. He's 1 for 2. And Bay pops one up in foul ground. Huff as it blows toward the stands, trying to shade his eyes, and makes the grab. Oh, what a circus play. He ran the great circle route, but Huff able to make the grab that sends us off to extra innings. Gosh, it's fun playing in the sun and wind, isn't it?
He had this one surrounded.
Francisco Rodriguez threw just 6 pitches in the 9th inning. He'll stay on to pitch the 10th in a 4-4 game. Aaron Rowan then the pitcher's spot with John Bowker on deck to pinch hit, and then Pablo Sandoval for the Giants in the 10th. Rowan 1 for 4, and he takes a fastball for a strike. Rowan singled to center in the Giants' 2-run 8th inning rally that got them even in this game. Only the second time this year that K-Rod will attempt to retire more than 3 batters. He had a 5-out save against the Cubs on April 22nd. And a good curveball to get ahead of Rowan. 0-2. Mets are just 1-4 in extra innings this year. The one win was on a Saturday afternoon. You remember that?
Yes.
Only took them 20 innings.
I believe we were in New York.
We were. They weren't. 1-2 now to Rowan. Aaron Rowan in his 3rd year with the Giants. And that big walk year with the Phillies when he had 27 home runs. Doesn't have the power numbers with San Francisco, different ballpark, but he is a great spark plug player. 1-2. Swing and a miss. He got him with a changeup. So K-Rod strikes out Rowan for the first out. Well, the Mets want to send out their best wishes to longtime employee Tom Fursh, who's recovering from surgery in the hospital. Tom is the Mets Senior Director of Ticket Sales and Services. He's been with the Mets organization for over 15 years. And Tom, we wish you nothing but best wishes. All your friends and colleagues here at Citi Field are pulling for you. Get well soon. So here is Bowker, who hit a long home run against K-Rod last night into the Pepsi porch in right field to tie the game in the 9th inning.
And it was off a changeup. He shook off Barajas and got the changeup up and over the middle, and boy, that was a bomb.
It really was. Halfway up in that Pepsi porch. This time the fastball, and K-Rod gets ahead of Bowker 0-2.
Steady diet of fastballs.
It's been an efficient outing so far for Francisco Rodriguez. 12 pitches. He's already retired 4 batters and ahead 0-2 on Bowker with Pablo Sandoval on deck. The Giants are 2-2 in extra inning games this year. Now the 0-2. And Bowker watches one bounce. A ball and 2 strikes. Frankie threw 28 pitches in the 9th inning yesterday. Suffered his 2nd blown save of the year, but wound up the winning pitcher. Last year, Frankie converted 17 of his first 18 save opportunities as a Met. The only blown save was not his fault. That was the drop pop-up at Yankee Stadium. 1-2, pulled foul. And this year, 4 saves and 6 opportunities to begin the year. The most telling part of that is that he hasn't had a lot of save chances.
No, he's had very little. At one point, Pelfrey had more saves than K-Rod.
Had the save in the 20-inning game when Frankie couldn't close it in the 19th, but Pelfrey did in the 20th. Word on Luis Castillo, he suffered a bone bruise on his left foot, and he is day to day. I wonder if it was going back in that bag to the bag at first. Bowker watches just down. That fastball just missed. 2-2.
Oh, Frankie wanted that one. That's too close to take. Too close with 2 strikes.
Could have been a strike easily.
Nicely framed.
Angel Hernandez said no, and now it's 2-2 to Bowker. Well, remember, he almost had Bowker struck out yesterday before the home run with that curveball that Hunter Wendelstedt didn't call. And now it's 3-2.
I don't think Frankie's going to throw him the changeup this time.
It's 3-2 to John Bowker. And the curveball bounced foul. Papers swirling all around between the mound and home plate. That's going to be so distracting.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Look at that.
Wow.
It's a twister. Head for the storm cellar.
Toto.
Papers against the fence. It is like Candlestick Park.
It is.
Again, the 3-2 to Bowker. And the curveball, ball 4. Frankie thought he had him. And he is trudging around the side of the mound. Not having.
Well, I thought that one missed. He had him in the pitch prior. It was up, Frankie. Up and I think away.
That's what he just asked Angel Hernandez. Where was it?
I thought this one missed. And there you can see the curve. Curved around the plate. Wasn't up. Curved around the plate.
Well, Met pitchers had gone 33 consecutive innings without issuing a walk. And now that streak ends with Bowker getting aboard with 1 out.
Well, we'll see if Frankie pops Sandoval upstairs with the fastball. They've been getting him out all series upstairs.
Sandoval 1 for 3 had a sacrifice fly in the 8th inning. And the breaking ball down, blocked by Blanco, 1-0.
Nice block by Henry. Well, this part of the game right here, look at him. Look at him get down. That's just really nice work. Keeping that runner out of scoring position.
Sandoval batting left-handed for the first time today. Has all 3 of his home runs as a left-hand batter. It's okay right after 28 pitches last night, working a 2nd inning today. Sandoval, as we mentioned earlier, is hitting to 8 double plays this year. And Frankie would love to get a ground ball here against the Kung Fu Panda. 1-1. And that one misses. 2-1.
Good eye by Sandoval. Well, now he's worked the count in his favor. 1 out here. You're looking for a pitch to hit right between the hole, first and second. Get runners at run the runner advance to third.
Slow ground ball. Davis in to field it. That's a fair ball. Sandoval's out, but it advances Bowker to second base, carrying the lead run. So now 2 out in the inning and a runner in scoring position for Eli Whiteside,
who came into the game late. Molina was taken out after his first at bat. He's 2 for 3 in this ball game.
And he was 2 for 2 yesterday. So Whiteside 4 for 5 in this series as the wind blows tons of paper across the field. There's the pitching chart for today for the Mets. Santana, the longest outing by a Mets starter this year. Nieve and Feliciano each gave up a hit to their only batter. Mejia got the final out in the 8th, and K-Rod trying to finish a 2nd inning and give the Mets a chance to win it in the bottom of the 10th. Mets will have Wright, Davis, and Francoeur coming up in the bottom of the inning. So here's Whiteside, who's been a huge surprise for the Giants with his bat so far this year. You see the average of 385 with 4 hits and 5 at-bats in this series. Look at all that paper near home plate. I mean, they've been doing a great job between innings of picking that stuff up, but at some point it's got to be awfully distracting.
Well, there's nothing you can do now. There's too much paper.
Didn't bother Bobby Thompson, did it?
No.
I mean, I always go back to that. The film of Bobby Thompson's home run off Ralph Branca. There's paper everywhere on that field. They weren't quite as vigilant.
Coogan's Bluff.
Miracle. Well, the little miracle.
Clint Eastwood made a movie. Coogan's Bluff.
1-0. And Whiteside watches it outside. 2-0. Aubrey Huff, whose hit tied the game in the 8th inning, is on deck. So things were going swimmingly for K-Rod until he ran into Bowker again. Didn't get a couple of calls that he thought he should. Wound up walking him. Bowker's now at second with 2 out. 2-0 to Whiteside. And that one bounces into Molina. Blanco makes a great stop, and it's 3-0. So K-Rod trying to compose himself. And again, we've heard from so many pitchers in these windy type of conditions about how it affects their fingers and how it dries out their hand and makes it hard to feel the ball.
Well, today's a little warmer, so I don't think it's that tough. Tomorrow will be difficult.
And it's too high. Ball 4, and Whiteside's on base again. So the second walk of the inning. After the Mets had gone 33 innings without issuing a single walk, Dan Warthen will visit the mound before K-Rod takes on the dangerous Aubrey Huff. Mejia got a big out for the Mets in the 8th inning, stranding a pair, and now K-Rod trying to get an out in a similar spot. Angel Hernandez out to try and break things up. Manny Acosta up in the Mets bullpen. He hasn't been in the game since he gave up a game-winning home run on Monday night in Cincinnati. So now Huff, who's singled to left field to drive in the tying run in the 8th, also had a sacrifice fly back in the 4th, so he's driven in a pair today. 2 hits and 5 career at bats against Frankie Rodriguez, and Cora is out in short right field. Hit in the air to right field. Frank Cora going back toward the corner, right near the wall, to make the catch. With the wind pushing it that way, the ballpark was just big enough to hold it. Huff retired, and the Mets breathe a sigh of relief. Now the bottom of the 10th with Wright, Davis, and Frank Cora. Millions today. Play big, play both. By Cadillac. Visit CadillacTristate.com. By Wachovia, Wells Fargo Company. By the Toyota National Sales Event going on now. Hurry into your Toyota dealer today. And by Empire City Casino at Yonkers Raceway, the jackpot next door. Long day at the ballpark for that youngster. Looks like he's hanging in.
Guillermo Moto got re-greeted by a chorus of boos.
What part about that shot? Former Met has pitched very well for the Giants this year.
So far, so good. 11 innings pitched. No walks. Lefties seem to give him trouble.
Well, he'll come on to face David Wright, Ike Davis, and Jeff Francoeur in the bottom of the 10th. David still looking for a hit. Started the day with a 10-game hitting streak. He has walked twice in this game. He's never had much luck against Mota, just 1 hit in 10 career at-bats. The Giants bullpen has gone 4 2/3 today. 2 2/3 for Brandon Metters, and then 2 for Jeremy Affeldt. And they've allowed no runs and 3 hits. Mets have had only 6 hits all day. So Wright tries to get it started for the Mets in the bottom of the 10th. And And Mota misses low and away for ball one. One and one. Sandoval guarding the line at third, and Wright pulling off that pitch, and Mota ahead 1-2. Mota spent last year with the Dodgers. Now moving within the National League West, and he strikes out Wright with a fastball. So Mota fans the first man to face him.
3 strikeouts for David on the day. Boy.
And 37 for the year.
Just too many strikeouts. Reaching. You can see him kind of bailing there.
So now Ike Davis with 1 out and nobody on. Ike has walked twice today. Grounded out and struck out 0 for 2. After his 2 home run performance last night. Mets 4, Giants 4, bottom of the 10th. And Davis takes the fastball wide from Mota, 1-0. Jeff Francoeur waiting on deck. Mota keeping it away from Davis, 2-0.
Well, that's going to be the book on Ike, is that they're going to pitch him outside. He loads that ball down in middle end.
Whiteside again moving away, and Davis pops one up down the left field line. DeRosa circling in, and that's the second out. So 2 out and nobody on with Francoeur coming up after this one's over. Coming up next on Pix 11, it is Friends. If you want more baseball, flip it over to SNY for Lincoln Mercury post-game live coming up after the game on SNY. So here's Francoeur with 2 out and nobody on. It's been a rough series for Jeff. 0 for 7 in the 2 games, including 4 strikeouts. Just 2 for his last 22. Francoeur 2 for 5 in his career against Mota. And Jeff takes a fastball for a strike. Good shot in the background of all that paper collected behind home plate with the wind swirling around Citi Field. 1-1 to Francoeur. Henry Blanco would be next. Mota, a big part of the Mets' stretch drive in 2006 to the National League East title. Came apart in the postseason that year. Later suspended for using performance-enhancing drugs, but the Mets brought him back nonetheless. 1-2 to Francoeur. Very controversial move, and then he didn't pitch well for the Mets after that, and they eventually moved him along. Isanori Takahashi up in the Mets bullpen. He has been fantastic.
Yes, he has been. And Igarashi was wonderful too, but it's a shame he's hurt. Boy, I love that Japanese tandem down there, left-right tandem in that bullpen.
Now the 1-2 to Francoeur, and he bounces the slider. 2-2. See what Jeff's done in his career against Mota. Francoeur admitted in the 20-inning game in St. Louis that he started swinging for the fences, felt as though that messed him up for a week. Got back into a hot streak until he got plunked a couple of times in Philadelphia, and he has struggled since. His average right now at .245 for the year after a very hot start. 2-2. Fisted foul, and he'll do it again. 6 extra inning games in the first 30 games. That's a lot of extra inning games.
It is. And over the long haul, that's a big burden on the bullpen.
Well, it took about a week for the bullpen to recover from that 20-inning game. Was that 3 weeks ago now in St. Louis?
Thank goodness that the Met starters have been going deep in the ball games lately.
Belfry 7 1/3 last night. Santana 7 2/3 today. The 2 longest outings by Met starters this year. Oliver Perez will go to the post tomorrow against Tim Lincecum in the final game of the series. And then the Nats come in Monday night. The Mets are playing, starting last night, 17 days without an off day. So that puts even more pressure on the bullpen. There's the Freak, lovingly nicknamed the Freak. You're a back-to-back Cy Young winner. 2-2. Frank Cora wastes another one. And that's tomorrow's game. Oliver Perez against Tim Lincecum. 12:30 tomorrow on SNY. Frank Cora has seen 7 pitches in this at bat.
He's taking very defensive cuts, Garrett, with the 2 strikes.
And he pops it up. Should be playable for Huff, battling the sun and the wind. And as he did the last inning, Huff stays with it to make the grab. A 1-2-3 inning for Mota. That sends us on to the 11th, with the Mets and Giants tied at 4. Jr. comes in to play right field. He'll bat 9th. Frank Cora comes out of the game, and the new pitcher Isanori Takahashi will bat 7th.
Well, Isanori has been terrific. Boy, look at the strikeouts. We've seen him strike out some batters when he's been in long relief. And you can see he is death on lefties and righties. The knock on him was that he wasn't tough. Had a tough time getting left-handers out, but he has been spot on so far this year.
Well, the Mets dance their way into the 11th. Takahashi last pitched on Wednesday afternoon when he faced 9 Cincinnati Reds and retired all 9, striking out 4. Pitched the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings in that game in back of Jonathan Neese. Now he'll come on in the 11th to give the Mets length out of the bullpen, and that's why Jerry Manuel makes the double switch and puts Matthews in so he can get as many innings as possible out of Takahashi. Juan Uribe will lead off in the 11th. Uribe 1 for 4, singled and a run back in the 4th. The Giants have 10 hits. The Mets have 6.
Right.
And Takahashi starts off Uribe with a breaking ball strike as Uribe was shortening up to bunt with Wright playing back at third. Well, it's a tough time of day to come in off the bench and go into right field as Matthews just did, with that sun right in your eyes and the wind blowing the way it is. Uribe fouls back the changeup, and it's 0-2.
Well, it's always been a sun field here. It was more, the fields have shifted a little bit more, counterclockwise. And it used to be a real tough field for the center fielder. And you see the shadows. They're more in the right fielder's eyes now in this new situation here.
Sun sets behind the third base dugout as Uribe pulls one down the left field line and not fouled by all that much. Just tomahawked that ball. Takahashi's been adept at getting the leadoff hitter out. He's been adept at getting just about everybody out. Mark DeRosa and Matt Downs, two more right-hand hitters to follow. And Uribe swings and misses at the changeup. Takahashi fans the first man to face him. His strikeout rate has been uncanny.
Well, you see the grip right there, and this a circle change. It's not really a circle change, but you see the spreading of the fingers. So he can't throw that. So he can't throw that pitch. It takes necessary speed off. Obviously, it's a changeup. Everybody has their own way of doing it. The key to a changeup is not giving it away in your arm motion.
DeRosa takes a fastball for ball one. Mark DeRosa 0 for 4 today. Struck out, popped up, grounded out, flied out. It's kind of like an out cycle. Lined, caught by Cora, 2 out. Elliott just falling to his right to grab that hot shot. 2 away.
Well, one thing, nice play by Alex, and the one thing about this Giant team, they have to bunch their hits. They haven't got a lot of power, and in this ballpark, their power is nil.
Well, they put together 3 hits to score 2 runs in the 4th, had 4 hits to score 2 runs in the 8th. Now Matt Downs is 1 for 4 on the day. And Downs swings and misses at the changeup, 0-1. In the bottom of the 11th, the Mets will have 8, 9, and 1 in the order. Blanco, Matthews, and Pagan. Takahashi, the 5th Met pitcher of the afternoon. Make it the 6th. Frankie Rodriguez went 2 innings. And there's a strike, and it's 0-2 to Downs. So Takahashi has come in throwing nothing but strikes. 7 of the 8 pitches he's thrown have been strikes. First time the Giants are getting a look at Takahashi. 0-2, and Downs goes down swinging. Blanco picks it out of the dirt and makes the toss to complete the putout. A 1-2-3 inning for Takahashi with 2 more strikeouts. Still 4-4. the bottom of the 11th against Guillermo Mota. Blanco is 2 for 4 today. Had a pop fly single his last time up. Well, the Mets won last night on a walk-off home run by a catcher. I suppose they could do it again that way. First pitch to the backstop from Mota, who retired the side in order in the 10th. Blanco looking for his first long ball of the year. Gary Matthews Jr. came in on the double switch. Blanco drives one to left field. Back goes to Rosa, looking up at the wall. It's out of here! Henry Blanco wins it with a walk-off home run. Barajas last night, Blanco today. His first home run as a New York Met. And the Mets win it in walk-off fashion for the second time in 24 hours. How's that for a daily double? Henry Blanco with a winner.
Well, how about that? Barajas, now Blanco. And this team now, what, 9 in a row at home? It's got Kevin excited.
Well, the Mets let a lead get away in their bullpen for the second straight day. But for the second straight day, it's their catcher who bails them out.
Fastball right inner half, belt high. Blanco, a fastball hitter, wanted it away. And a season last year, which is over, where the Mets did not hit a lot of home runs. Boy, they are driving the ball today. This year, excuse me.
Well, Barajas has 9 home runs, and now Blanco has his first. Would it go? It did. The Mets, who had not hit a walk-off home run at Citi Field all of last year, now have 2 in 2 days. There's your Dodge game summary. Isanori Takahashi gets the win with a 1-2-3 inning of relief in the 11th. And Blanco wins it for the Mets with a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 11th inning as the Mets beat the Giants for the second straight day, 5-4. First career walk-off for Blanco as the Mets starting to make a habit of playing tight ball games. They lost a couple of games on walk-off home runs in Cincinnati earlier in the week. Now they've won them back-to-back. Kevin Burkhardt standing by with Henry Blanco.
Henry, it's pretty windy out today. Did you think that was going to get out of here?
Not really, though. I mean, I was running crazy, but I guess the wind took it, so we won. That's a good thing.
Did you get some inspiration from Rob Barajas? I mean, a catcher with a walk-off homer last night, a catcher with a walk-off home run tonight.
Hey, that's tough to do, but I guess we're lucky today, and we came back and win this game.
Are you trying to go up there and end the game at this point? I mean, are you trying to take a big swing and see if you can get it out of here?
Nah, not really, though. I was trying to get on base, and I caught some runs, but I guess I took him deep, and thanks God we won.
Talk about Johan Santana coming back from that outing that he had, that rough outing in Philly. It looked like he was back on his game. What did you see from him today?
Yeah, it was a lot different. He got a pretty good stuff going on today. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the win for him, but we won, and hopefully we keep going tomorrow.
What does it feel like to have this momentum going at home now, Henry?
Hey, it's amazing, man. We play good here, so we're going to get it. We're going to keep it going.
And with that, we end that one. Henry Blanco with the game winner. Guys, let's go back to you.
Blanco, the game winner. Cora, the shaving cream pie. And so it is for the New York Mets. An unlikely pair of back-to-back victories over the San Francisco Giants on walk-off home runs by Met catchers. Barajas last night, Blanco today. Next pick's